Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the X Button, Season 5, Episode 16. I am your host, Alejandro, finally recovered after my weekend at Bernie's session last week. And joining me today is like, how Paul called him, the red-bearded sensation.
I don't remember that being a nickname he said, but yes, I honestly, Alex, I completely forgot you were a corpse last week.
Yeah.
Like that's how this week has been, with like stuff going on and craziness with personal life things and real world stuff plus game stuff, all the craziness of the last few days, last 24 hours.
So, how you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm ready to talk some games here. Not a particularly newsful week here, but we've got some interesting games to talk about, which is really exciting.
Yeah, not a newsful week, but a little bit of an eventful week. But before that, also joining us is our rotating other co-host, Rick, who had an interesting day. How are you doing, Rick?
I'm here. I'm getting by, I guess. How are you doing, Alex?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Like, good seeing you again after we did the Last of Us episode that actually did go live this week, which I'll get to that in our kind of like our housekeeping. But good to have you here. Always like loving having a panel to be able to just talk games and nonsense. And this week I had a lot of nonsense.
That episode confused so many people that, like, my friends that and my girlfriend that like subscribed. They're like, "Did you record already? What's it's early? Like, what's happening?" They were really confused. I was like, no. That's an extra thing that they're doing.
and if they go in, we specifically mentioned that was like an off-season like extra episode that we recorded. Like, that's gonna be complemented to the normal episodes. So, but I'll definitely get to that. But before getting into most of that, this is just a reminder that this is the X Bottom Podcast. It's Escape's gaming podcast that posts every Fridays from 10 a.m. onwards, God willing. Available on the YouTube channel Escape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links in the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/escapegaming. If you enjoy our show,
ASMR.
Give us a like and subscribe. After Paul said it last time, I was like, I'm definitely gonna do that. And now, as the housekeeping, as I mentioned, last week we were gonna record our review of the first episode of The Last of Us Season 2, and I got sick, so I couldn't do it. So this week we finally started. Me and Rick got to give our thoughts on the first two episodes of The Last of Us TV show from HBO. That's already live in the channel. Like, you can hear like our thoughts, both positive and negative, about how the season is kind of portraying that game, and we'll keep doing that for the rest of the season, which is just 7 episodes. So,
all right, Rick,
take a wild guess which one was which.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are you saying, Joe?
I was saying thumbs up or thumbs down, Rick. I need a thumbs up or thumbs down on the first two.
Yeah, and I'm here. Yeah, and I'm kind of like,
I guess it depends which way you're looking at
exactly. It. Yeah, I'm kind of like this. It's an interesting discussion as someone that like how we are approaching and how that's hidden based on how you're approaching it. So definitely give it a check. And also, sorry for last week's episode that had like an hour and a half of dead air. I was sick and very late.
When I listened to it, I was like, holy hell, they really went on for a while.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah,
there's an hour of
dead air.
An hour and a half of just dead air after it ended. Like I was listening to it on my ride in to work, since I wasn't on it. I was listening to it, and I was like, why is it not they're wrapping up? There's like 2 hours to go still.
I didn't know that.
I fast forwarded to see if there was some like bonus episode. I was like,
you didn't tell us that, Alex. You didn't say anything.
Does
Paul know?
No, Paul doesn't know that.
I was the one that told Alex about it.
Yeah, because I was like
Tuesday, I think.
Because what happens is that if you leave like any of the pictures that you put in like in the timeline, and I had that from like the 2 hours and 30 that we did with the Ray episode when it was the 4 of us, I just put it like, because it was like my internet again was like so slow. I was like, I just need to render this. I just put like the our file and just render it and put it in. And then Rick was like, there's like an hour and a half of that air. I was like, oh no! It had like if you look at the 2 episodes back to back, they almost have the exact same like air, like the exact same time. So it's because of that, even though it was a much shorter episode.
And on top of that, it was the episode where I believe you had difficulty editing because you were sick, so it went up later too. So it didn't get caught as early as it otherwise would have.
Exactly. It was like I was just out of it. But I'm
fixed now, or is it just forever a super long dead air episode?
Yeah, it's still. I've been trying to see if I could try to fix it, but then it was like gonna. With the upload speeds where I am, it's such a mess that I was like, man, I needed to get the Last of Us episode up also. So I was like, man, because I re-edited and I redown, so I have the file, but then having to go in, it means that I had to kind of take it out and then if it goes in, it's gonna come in as a new episode, and there was already aired. I was like, I'll just take the L and make fun of myself like in the next episode. So, but thank you, Rick, for mentioning that, because I literally just uploaded and forgot about it because it was like that kind of week, because it was rough. But I feel better, even though my voice, I feel like I'm sounding deeper. I don't know, like I don't know if that's just remnant for that.
Puberty at 30.
Yeah. Probably like another extra puberty, because I hit puberty really early also. So yeah, I just find it interesting. But
sound better.
This is an interesting episode.
Wow. So time to talk about what we've been playing. I want to start with you guys. Obviously, I want to start with Rick first with KCD2. How much more have you played? Any updated thoughts on that?
Well, I have finally completed the wedding. You know, I'm only probably a month and a half behind schedule on that. But I did that. I finished the bells. I don't think I was on the episode last time when I said that. I think
you did. Yeah. You did. You talked about the bells.
Yeah. On the episode or not? Okay, I thought I just talked to you.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Well, then I guess I don't have a whole lot to report there. Still plugging along. What is the last thing I did? Oh, I'm making my way back. I was confused after the bells. I don't know why. I thought you actually went down to Nebukov to do the next mission, and it turns out what you do is to go down to Nebukov. So I'm basically trudging my way back up to Trotsky to do that. And that's kind of all the more I've gotten there.
So you're not in Kutenberg yet. You're not on the
I am not in Kutenberg yet. No.
Okay. You are approaching. Not spoiling anything about it, but you're approaching a point in the game where like you're going to be locked into the main path for like longer than you think. It's actually like way long. It's like everything but this one quest is going to be available after you're free again, just so you know. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I was locked in for like an entire play session, and then like the next day I went back to it and I still had more to do, and then finally I finished it.
Well, that makes sense of something, because not that I pay particularly close attention to it. I had seen the PS5's progression tracker for the main quest, and I was like, this story is supposedly like 80 hours long. How am I like 40% of the way through it already when I've barely done it? So that must be why. There must just be like mission strings that are very, very long, and that must be why it works that way.
Yeah, you definitely have a long string there. Like I said, there's one quest. It'll warn you. It'll tell you the name of the quest that you can't do before you start, and then once you start, like it's back to back to back to back of main story stuff that happens basically all the way until you're in Kutenberg. It's based from the Nebukov start until you're in Kutenberg. Basically, you're locked in at that point. It's long. You don't know what I'm talking about, Alex, right? Because you haven't gotten there yet. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Joe, like, now that you've been like a few weeks removed from home, like, do you miss playing KCD2?
I do miss it, mostly because I don't like leaving things unfinished when I'm enjoying them, but also like I'm so invested in that world and those characters that I'm really excited. I was just sitting watching some YouTube videos. For whatever reason, I've been watching in the background random clips of The Office lately. It just popped up and I just watched them, and I've been having them on in the background while like working or whatever. We're trying to go to sleep. And one of the things that also popped up was Henry's funniest dialogue responses when getting caught committing crimes or something. And it was like a 20-minute compilation, Rick, of all the things that when you select the speech option, all the excuses Henry will try to give. Like you're caught strangling a woman, and he's like, I was just trying to surprise hug her. Women love to be hugged. It's like literally one of the things.
The one that I heard that cracked me up was he made some joke to the guard about a weaving woman or something like that. I forget what it was, and the guard was like, all right, that's actually pretty funny. I'll let you go. And it was such a bad joke, but I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, there was one where it was like he's caught poisoning a pot, and the guard was like, hey, what are you doing trying to poison that pot? And he goes, I wasn't, and it actually showed both versions, the fail and the success. And the first one where he's like, I was just walking by and the poison accidentally slipped in. And then the guard was like, so it was poison. And then and then the other one, he's like, I wasn't poisoning the pot. It was really bland and I was adding spices to it.
It is easily one of the best written games ever made. Like it's genuinely insane how well written it is.
Yeah, I really didn't mind watching those compilations because I am a save scummer, so I'm not letting myself get caught doing crimes or having anything hurt my reputation. So I just reload if I get caught. So I don't even answer. I don't even need to answer, even though I could talk my way out of all of them. So watching those compilations was just fun for me. It was just like stuff I'm not gonna see in this run because I'm not gonna let it happen.
Yeah, I wonder when you go home how much longer it's gonna take you to finish it, because you said that you like unlocked the entire second map too, right? Like
yeah,
it's already
I cleared
like
the entire second map. I went and did pretty much every quest. I think I've got like 1 or 2 side quests left. So at least as far as what I've done, that could obviously more could open up as I progress. So yeah, I think I'm getting towards the end, but I don't actually know that for sure. I have like 70 hours in the game or something. Like I have a lot of time in.
Yeah,
it is big for sure.
I reinstalled it today. For let's just say that something that came out this week kind of like already put me in the mood. I was like, I had already deleted it earlier because I was like, I'm not really playing, and you're a big chunky file while I was playing other stuff. And then I started clearing up. I was like, I'm not gonna play this right now. I'm gonna delete this, as I was making space for all these new games that suddenly dropped on us. I was like, I want to kind of, I said that I really want to play KCD2s. I wanted those games that I know is so praised that I was like, I want to give I want to give it its time. And this other thing we're gonna talk about later when we get to headlines. Kind of, I was like, I see so much the influence, and I was like, I kind of wanted to go back and forth and just kind of like compare those influence, but we'll get there. But I haven't reinstalled Assassin's Creed Shadows. Joe, you're still playing it, obviously. Rick, how much further have you guys gotten? At least like if you can kind of say what you've done so far with Shadows.
I'm still exactly where I was in the main quest. I did a couple of the like I did the 2 Yasuke missions that pop up.
Like the special ones, right? Like the ones that come.
Well, they're not special because they are required for story progression. But yeah, you meet his, or you're supposed to meet his master, and you meet Lady Nene or whatever her name is. I did those, and otherwise I've just kind of screwed around.
Yeah, and you, Joe?
I'm actually right there, but before doing those quests, I've not progressed the main story at all since we spoke because of the thing we're going to talk about later a bit, and also just busy. But when I was playing, what I did was go around clearing the things that I had to do with Yasuke that I couldn't do with Naoe, specifically the one Kofun in Setsu that you have to lift the heavy thing and throw it and explode it to get into the tomb there. And you need Yasuke for that. And then I did like all the Yasuke katas and the Yasuke horse archery missions in Yamashiro and in Setsu. So like I've just been doing map clearing stuff basically because that's how I play the game. I like to clear each zone before I progress it the best that I can, especially when I'm planning on platinuming it at some point. So I like to clear entirely before I move on. So that's what I've been doing, and also like doing the side missions that come up for the contracts to like get the resources and things because I want to keep upgrading. I think I've got the whole base out of the 6 unique special buildings that you have in there. I think they're all at level 2 or higher.
Okay.
At this point.
Yeah, you're doing good pace with that because it's like it's pretty easy to get it all 100%. Like
my whole base is rank 6 or something right now. I think I'm rank 6 out of I think it's 10 or 11 that it goes up to, something like that.
Yeah, and Joe, real quick, isn't the mission when you finally unlock a Yasuke really cool?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The whole, I like the story of this game overall, and I like Naoe's revenge tale story. Like so far, it's interesting to me. My biggest criticism of the game is honestly in some of the gameplay where I love fighting. The combat's great, even fighting as Naoe without having. I'm on knowledge level 4. So I've got some stuff unlocked, but I really like Naoe's auto dodge ability where you just like activate it and she just dodges 7 attacks from enemies like automatically. It's like that is sweet.
Yeah, that's one of her like R1, like the ones that different abilities. Yeah,
one of her abilities. Yeah, I love that ability. That's awesome. But so like I love the combat, and I think the stealth in this is so much better than it was in Valhalla and Mirage. Like just so much better. But I don't like that I can't climb everything still. Like I feel like half the time I'm exploring the world, I'm just running around bushes because I can't see anything. I'm like the map is so foresty, at least in the regions that I've explored, that when I'm climbing the mountain, it's literally just bushes in my face as I'm kind of seeing Naoe run up a hill.
Yep. Rick, you were gonna say like that.
All I was gonna say is I refuse to even unlock that ability because that's not how I want to play that game at all.
The one that the quick dodge,
the auto dodge, yeah. If I'm not timing it properly myself, I don't want it. Like when I play games, a lot of times I'll as much as you
You're
can.
Like challenging. You like challenging yourself.
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, I hope one of the updates includes an actually higher difficulty. Not that it's not tough, because it is tough, but
are you playing on hard?
I'm playing on expert, yes.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't think the stealth could get too much tougher, because the stealth actually is pretty damn rough at times. But the actual combat, I would definitely like it to be, as certainly on the Yasuke side, I'd like it to be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, Yasuke murks enemies.
Very tough.
Yeah,
it's to the point I intentionally, when I'm using him, I use like massively under-level gear to make sure that I don't have that much health. And now again, I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. It actually is pretty tough. But I would like it to have a difficulty level that has much tighter like parry timing and stuff like that, since the parry timing is quite generous.
That is the opposite of what I look for in an Assassin's Creed game. I want to feel like the overpowered assassin who's so skilled against...
I don't at all. I do not at all want to feel that way.
Yeah, like a challenge. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a remnant of the older stuff, especially like the Altair era, where you, like, if you're constantly pairing, you're like mastery and just dancing around and killing everyone. So
I mean, the final fight in Assassin's Creed 1 is against like 20 Templars that you have to just parry and kill each one of them, otherwise like you're done. Like, that's the final fight in Assassin's Creed 1. It's crazy. It just stuck with me forever that you're talking to the king guy there and you're warning him or whatever, and then
you get surrounded.
Attack you, and you're surrounded, literally just surrounded by 20 Templars and parry killing them all at once. Yeah. So I really like the combat. I think it's very satisfying, because it is not so challenging, but it's not so easy either. Like, I've died a couple times playing even on the normal difficulty, just because like I'm chill. I'm not taking it very seriously, because it's not that serious. You know, you just reload it. Like, I take games seriously and try really hard when it's gonna suck to die, but it doesn't suck to die. It's just a quick reload, so whatever. Like, that's not a big deal. Or you can run away really easily and hide. So I'm enjoying this game a lot. I do wish... I'm really tired that the fast travel points are... a lot of them are in the castles that are surrounded by moats. That's really annoying, that you have to like jump down and go through. Like, you're fast traveling just into a hostile land almost every time you're fast traveling when you're in a city.
I know which one you're talking about. I know specifically which one you're talking about.
Yeah. You can use the Kaggeru or whatever they're called.
Yeah, you can use
those are in basically every major city.
Right, but there's just not a lot of... There's only 2 fast travel points in each major city area. One of them is that, and then the other one is in the hostile zone. So if you got to go to the other side, you're either spawning in the hostile zone or you're spawning on the other side where the hideout place is there. And that's... So there's just like these little things about it that I'm just like, why did you make this choice? Why is this the option you have chosen for this game design here? But I really love playing it. Like, just the action of the stealth and like crawling around as Nawe is really cool. And I haven't put too much time into Yasuke. Like I said, I literally just have run around and done his knowledge point things. That's really it. I will say, I am now on Alex's side about the lack of a torch.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
These tombs are so dark that you can't see anything. And then the Kofun with Yasuke, you can't use the eagle vision, so you can't see anything times 2. Like, you doubly can't see anything. And I wish I missed the old style with like Black Flag, where eagle vision and then you just looked at them and marked it. Now you have to eagle vision and mark it with the L2. Like, why add the extra button push for the focus? Like, that just seemed... It's an extra button for nothing. Like, there's no benefit to that.
Yeah, me and Rick were having this conversation in private that like the most annoying thing about these Assassin's Creed games is how they keep always changing just tiny little things from game to game. That is like, why do you change it? It's just stupid.
It's always the same general 4 things on the D-pad, but it's always a different direction.
Yeah, and it's you're like, okay, so I need to use the L2 to mark someone. Okay, I can do that. I can mark it. Oh, but you can't mark people through a wall without eagle vision. It's like, okay, so why do I need to use the L2? Why can't I just look at them in eagle vision and mark them that way? And then, and I didn't know this, I realized this later on, you can't be out of eagle vision and mark someone that's behind a wall. So eagle vision will show you where they are, and then there's like an ability. There is an actual ability that will extend how long someone is shown through the wall after using eagle vision. But if you are not actively in eagle vision, it doesn't matter how long they're shown through that wall. If they're not marked with the L2, you can't mark them without eagle vision being active on. Even if you can still see them, if eagle vision is not on, you can't mark them, which is so weird. Like, what's the point of being able to see them through the wall then if I can't mark them in addition? So it's just these little things that I feel like they've done so much better in other games. I don't actually miss the eagle that much. The eagles are cool. Like I love Icarus.
You get used to not having the eagle in this one.
It was cool when they did it in Origins. It was less cool when they did it in Odyssey, and it was really obnoxious when they did it in Valhalla and then Mirage. It's like, okay, you already did this. It was time to move on.
Valhalla and Mirage are bad implementations. I think Icarus is as I can't Senu. I think Icarus and Senu are good implementations of it in Origins and Odyssey. I think Valhalla they did bad with it. So I don't miss the Eagles so much. But I do miss the reason I miss the Eagle at all is actually because of the way that the castles work, where you need to kill the samurai chiefs, the captains in there. It's really hard to find them sometimes. Like some of them have 5 samurai that you need to find, and I'm just like running around. I've like killed everybody in this castle, and I can't
They're
find.
big play spaces. They're so big sometimes that you're like, have I gone everywhere? So no, there's even another tiny building in this entire castle that you didn't go all the way over there, and that's where the final Daimyo is.
Yeah, which is a little bit annoying, but I've noticed that I've gotten better at just holding the L2 button and using L2 as if it's Eagle Vision now, because that's really your marker for telling you where things are. Eagle Vision is good for the specific location of an enemy, but outside of that, Eagle Vision doesn't do anything anymore, which is another annoyance. Like, why do I not see treasure chests with Eagle Vision? Why do I have to use the focus? I can sense a treasure chest on the other side of a wall with the focus, but I can't see the outline of the enemy with the focus. I need the Eagle Vision for that, but the Eagle Vision doesn't show me the treasure chests anymore, and it doesn't show me where my objectives are. That's the L2 button. It's just so strange. It's such a strange choice of design changing. If that was how it always was, it'd be like, okay, that's how. But it's just a change for change's sake.
It's a pretty hot problem.
Actually, I'll tell you what the change is from. It's from the brain rot of everything needs to be Elden Ring. I don't want anything to be shown to me where it is. I want to find it. And now, to be clear, I actually disagree with a lot of what you're saying. That's fine. We can have different opinions on this.
Yeah.
That I actually like searching for the things. Like I try not to use, unless I've been searching forever, for example. I try not to use the like blue circle thingy to find like somebody. Like I want to kind of hunt them. I want the thing to tell me what area to go to, and then I look for them from there. That's exactly what that's a result of. Is everyone going, well, I'm tired of just following a checkpoint on the map and blah, blah, blah.
And that's been kind of like the change that you notice in most Ubisoft games, starting with Avatar, that they're like the memes of like the overly designed UI and showing you everything. It's like, we want those memes to stop. Like the UI in Avatar was like more pared back. The UI in Star Wars Outlaws also more pared back and more diegetic. This one is also more diegetic in some of the design. And I feel it's because they heard that criticism loud and clear, but I don't feel they have fully capitulated, because they're still kind of showing you stuff. It's like they're trying to hit that middle spot, but it's still kind of like in their checklist.
What they did was they tried to clean up that criticism, which I've never made the criticism of. I want them to show me where everything is. I just want to run from point to point and do the stuff, because I'm not there for that. I'm there for the story. I don't want to waste my time looking for things. I want to be told where it is and go and do it, and then continue the story as it goes. Like that's my approach. But they tried to fix that, but they didn't really find the right balance. They kind of did weird things and just weird controlling choices. Like I said, the choice between having the Eagle Vision and then the focus both do kind of the same thing. I mean, you say, Rick, you don't use the blue circles. I'm constantly just holding that down.
I didn't say I don't use them. I said I try not to.
Yeah,
I don't want to be directed straight to the person all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I immediately, like, I'll use 3 scouts just to get a whole swath area, just to get as much space detected as possible.
Joe, have you gotten the trophy of using the scout?
I don't remember.
I think because it pops. That's the only trophy that they told you was gonna be disabled. So if you got it, switch back to guided mode, and you'll be fine.
I might do that. I have to look and see if I got it or not. I don't remember. But so that's just some quirks there. I will like. Did you do the butterfly one yet, Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that.
That was one where I did use the blue things, because they were kind of tough to find otherwise anyway. So
yeah, and even with the blue thing, they were really hard to find, because it doesn't even give you a search radius. It was just like somewhere in southwestern Osaka.
It said it was all in Sasai.
Yeah, I will say the guided.
I would say the guided
mode of this game is very guided mode. Like, especially compared if you played a normal rig, like playing in guided mode is like it overly trivial. It literally shows you everything. Literally everything is shown in guided mode. It's like more, they show you even more than in the previous guided modes, that I was like, am I supposed to find the, because when I was trying doing the random targets, I was like, I was finding them without even doing the investigations of how to find it. You know how sometimes you have to investigate and maybe get like a tip of like, I found this letter that kind of tells me where it is and all that. Is like sometimes they were already being marked in the map without me having to like do that. So it's like they probably went a little too far in the guided mode in that respect.
Like I said, they've just never found that sweet spot between all of it. Like, this is kind of a compromise, but it's not a great compromise. I don't know. I really do enjoy this game. I do think this combat is way more satisfying to play than Valhalla's combat.
100%.
Like League, and way better than Valhalla's combat. I like Naue. I think she's a little stiff in her English voice acting, and I know that could be like intentional, like the way that people claim that Connor was intentionally stiff as a Native American situation. People are like, well, that's just how he would speak. That's supposed to be. I feel like
the difference is Connor would be speaking English.
Yeah.
Whereas Naue is supposed to be speaking Japanese, but to you sounds English. That said, I don't actually think her voice acting's that bad. I don't. I've heard
it's not bad. It's just I've
heard a lot of criticism of it. I don't really think it's that bad at all. So.
Yeah, I really like. It's just a little stiff in my opinion. She's a little stilted in her voice, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, it feels more stilted because Yasuke is so great. Like his voice acting is so cool.
Haven't really heard him enough to say, but he seems good.
No, and that's the thing, because you're really like focusing on now. But I was like,
during Yasuke like a little while ago, like 2 hours ago.
And in the game. When I got Yasuke, especially when I was doing the review, I really wanted to play as much as I could with him, just to kind of see how they were. What that experience would be like if someone would decide to play as him, knowing that now I had like the entire kid minus him. And that was when I started hitting. I was like, man, it sucks that he doesn't have the kid because he's so likable. I like how he interacts with the world. I like how the world reacts to him. Like this mountainous dude, like as you're walking in the streets, it's so cool seeing how the guards and just the civilians react to him, because it's like
they act like he's a lord.
Exactly. So it's like, that's so cool. And it's like, it just sucks that I know that if I want to fully complete this game, I always have to kind of switch to Naue that it has the entire thing that I want to do. When they made Yasuke so cool as a character.
And I like his weapon suite. I haven't played enough with the weapons, like fought with them too much, but I like that he has the full suite. I think Hogue said it best on Vidcast when he was first talking about this, was that like they just really botched it with the two characters thing. Like they should have just made one play set, because both styles are really cool, and it should just be one character that you get to play as, because it's really fun. I have all of these weapons that I was finding as Naue before I even unlocked Yasuke, and I'm like, what's a long katana? What am I doing with a teppo, which is a gun? Who doesn't know? Like,
and what
is happening?
Yeah, and are you gonna say, Rick?
Well, I was gonna say, where they kind of messed up, I think, and I think we're kind of in agreement on this, Alex, is you're a little too limited on what weapons you can and can't use at any given time. I do be like, I don't know if they will, but a change that I would like them to make is, number one, Naue should have access, or at the very least, I would prefer to use the katana and the Kusarigama in combat, but still have access to the double assassination. Like, I don't care about using the Tonto in combat, but I want to have the double assassination.
Yeah.
And with Yasuke, he has, as of right now, he has 6 weapon types. Yeah. Long katana, the kanbo, I think is what it is.
The capo, or the big stick.
It's a big club, yeah.
Yeah, the kanbo, yeah.
The Naginata, I think is what it's
called. The Naginata, the teppo, the bow.
The teppo, yeah, and then bow, yeah. So he
the big gun, and the big gun.
That's the teppo. That's the teppo. Yeah. So I'm sorry, he has 5.
5.
It would work a lot better if you had 2 weapons plus a ranged weapon equipped.
Thank you, because
that's exactly what they should do.
It's so annoying that you had your 2 weapons in the other games, and your ranged weapon was in a separate slot, and in this time they're asking you to commit to a ranged weapon. It's like, why are you gonna do that?
like it would be fine if you could only pick one type of ranged weapon to have equipped. I'd have no issue with that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, remember I told you that I'm so broken. I made a different
build for
not for build, a different visual style for him for each of the seasons, because I was like, well, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for him to be walking around in this armor, in this samurai armor in the middle of summer. I also used that to make sure that I had each of the 5 weapon types equipped somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the katana I use it everywhere, like all the sets, and then one set has the konbo, one set has the bow, one set has the teppo, and one set has the naginata.
Yeah, I haven't made weapon sets and gear sets yet. I just have the basic one that I have for each of them. I don't actually know. I know that it's doable. I just haven't actually figured out how to do it yet. Like I saw the option, but I didn't see how to actually activate it.
All you do is you go to the left, and it's got like if you haven't made any yet, it'll just say 1 with a plus underneath it.
Yeah. Oh, the plus. I didn't see the plus. I saw the 1. I didn't see the plus. Okay.
You click the plus to make a new one, and then you just switch to them freely outside of combat, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I just want to say, because I don't want to say keep talking too much on this one, but I wanted to say that I actually, Rick, really love the Tanto in combat. Like that is my primary fighting weapon with Nawe, because
not me. I hate it actually.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna say like the Tanto is the tiny which one's the tiny
dagger?
Small
dagger, yeah.
So in knowledge level 5 you can unlock an ability that basically one hit kills every enemy. Like you'll see it there. That's what I started using.
I don't want that.
Yeah, like you just know it's kind of like a win button in combat. Like if you have it, it's just like remember Joe, that I was complaining that I hated that there was in the main assassinations there, even if you play as now, eventually it was always a boss fight instead of like giving you the option to do this stealth. With that thing unlocked, whenever that would happen, I would still use it and I immediately killed them. literally immediately melted. And I don't know if that was because I had the one hit assassination like option unlocked, because I was like, this is interesting. You have like here's the button, then I pressed it, I was like, delete. I was like, okay, cool.
I tried the Kurosagama. It was a little weird for me, so I just switched back to the katana, and I went with the Tanto because I just really like the Tanto. I like the one where she like yanks herself closer and stabs. That's a good one.
The Kusarigama definitely requires some practice because it is a little bit different. Like there's a little bit more skill involved to using it.
Yeah, and you want to look about a bunch of stuff because otherwise, like the only good use is if you're like surrounded, is like put it there, hold R2, and then keep slashing like in the mode to kind of hit everyone. So, but there's better there's better options with the Kurosagama or whatever it's like. I'll always mess it up. Kusarigama. Yeah, it's like it has great upgrades, but you also have to commit, and you have you only have a limited amount of like points. That the other thing is that you can spec however you want all the time. Like every time that I change,
do you have a limit? Is there a level cap?
It's unlimited. You can respec all the time.
No, I mean, is there a level cap? Like I think eventually you can unlock everything.
Yeah, but very late. But very late.
I believe it's 60, but yeah, you still get mastery points even after you get to it.
Yeah, it's like it's just like if you do everything in the game, then eventually you'll unlock everything. There's a lot of points required to unlock everything.
Yeah, I noticed that. I definitely noticed that as I was, because it was starting off with like 1 and 2, and then there's like 5 to unlock a new ability. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna skip the abilities I'm not interested in. And because I also have the one-hit assassinations, I've been able to skip those as skill upgrades. Like I don't need them.
Yeah,
good. But it's great. I'm loving this game. I don't know where it places yet in my rankings. It's definitely on the upper end of the Assassin's Creed games for me, partially because of the setting, partially because I really enjoy this combat when I am fighting, and I think that the ability to go prone is really cool. And I will say, Rick, I have not turned my controls back to default. I still have all the changes that I made to it. I'm still,
you're going to know issues.
Yes.
I promise you. I promise you, because I did. I was constantly trying to lay down or crouch on a ceiling and jumping off of it instead.
I have done that. I won't say that I haven't done it, but it has not been so much of an issue that I'm willing to cave and change back. I did do that once or twice.
I feel like you're in stubbornness mode, Joe, that you're like, oh yeah, I'll still like, I'm so like sticking to like this other construct how I think it should be, that you'll try to like justify like how it's gonna mess up.
I'm not justifying it. Like I've one time I hit the circle button to try and to go prone, and I ended up like going and hanging off the roof, and it like got me spotted once. Like one time I had something like that happen, and I've jumped off a little bit, but I've only had an issue with it the one time, and like let me rephrase, it's only caused me problems once so far. It can be a little annoying, but I just climb back up, and then the second time you do it, it registers correctly and you go down on your stomach.
Play it on expert and you tell me it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it on expert. I like enjoying my games.
Yeah, you don't like being
I enjoy them just fine now. Now that I switched it back.
Well,
here's so real quick. Here's a fun little Assassin's Creed Shadow story that has nothing to do with this. I saw a Reddit post on the Assassin's Creed page. I don't know, a few days ago. Somebody, their mind was blown because they're like, "Wow, did you guys know that Oda Nobunaga was real and this is a real part of Japan?" And the what is it? Is it Hanoji Temple? I believe that actually happened. And everyone's like, have you ever played an Assassin's Creed game before? They're all based around events that actually happened. Now that said, I will say, even though I knew it was probably a real part of Japan, I did not know where. When they point out where I was like, okay, now that makes sense to me. Like I couldn't visualize what part of Japan it is. And now I do know that. Like it's the mainland kind of where it bends. It's just way more zoomed in, obviously, and there's obviously a whole lot more to the north and a whole lot more to the
yeah. And if you know where Osaka and Kyoto are, like if you have an idea, where
I know where Osaka is. I do not know where Kyoto is. Well, I do now, but at the time I did not know where Kyoto was. But yeah, I read that. I was just like, I mean, Oda Nobunaga might be the single most famous Japanese person in history, actually.
And he's in so much Japanese media. He's the freaking villain in Onimusha.
He always is, yeah. like when if you talk feudal Japan, it's not even like a question that he is by far the most famous figure from feudal Japan. Because he's the one that made it not feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the grifters were trying to say that game was not like historically accurate, but hey, the second best-selling game in the US now.
The thing I find most interesting about Japanese history overall, with like Nobunaga and all of that, is the fact that even while all that's going on, they'll still tell you that they have the same chain line of emperors that they've always had. The emperor has never been disrupted. It's always been from son to son forever. Like it's the same family of emperors for like 2,000 years, according to Japanese history, which is so interesting.
I do need to do a little bit more research into Japanese government, because I was always like, it's just a side thing that's not to do with this, but I was always under the impression that the shogunate was what replaced feudal Japan, but that is incorrect. The shogunate actually exists during feudal Japan, so I gotta kind of look into what the shogunate actually was and all that stuff, because I was very much mistaken as to what was what there.
Yeah, but it was funny that you kind of called it in some way, like something that could happen.
I was slightly off, but I was pretty spot on about
that thing happening.
I mean, I thought it was pretty. Yeah, I mean, I was obviously very much mistaken in terms of the timeline and all that stuff, but I thought it was pretty darn clear that was the exact reason why Yasuke was selected as a character.
Yeah, I still stand by my 8. That's a great game. So
from what I've played, I think that's a little low, but I've not finished it either. So
yeah, but also remember that you didn't find issues early on where I found them. So that was always gonna kind of like. And me telling ahead of time.
People that can't not collect every stupid chest on a map are their own worst enemies.
Early on.
I mean, I'm collecting all the chests. I don't have an issue.
But I told you immediately, go here first before you go do everything. So, and that was my big problem in those first 2 days, where I was like, I severely neutered myself for 8 hours by not going to the villa first and unlocking the objective tabs. As
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I also did that too, and I still don't regret it. I didn't go right to the villa. I explored the whole of Setsu first, the best that I could. That's just how I like to play. It doesn't bother me that way.
Yeah, but remember, you were not reviewing. You were just kind of chilling.
Right, exactly. Just chill. I'm not under the time crunch for sure. So that that sort of thing.
So under the time crunch and seeing that there was nothing in those worlds, I was like, the freak? Yeah. Usually there's more to do. Like when I'm just exploring, like how I play Odyssey, that you can find so much just by going on your own path, even in the first island. I was like, you needed to go to the villa here first for all of that to start popping.
I noticed that like as you progress, new side quests will appear on the map, like new exclamation points will appear, like, oh wait, that wasn't there before. What's up with that? Like that's interesting.
And with me, with the map so clear but empty, then when I unlocked that, it just immediately all popped. I was like, holy crap. I played this wrong.
The weirdest thing that so far with the objectives is that there are multiple little completely unconnected assassin target groups. Like that's a huge change, because usually there's the one big group and then they're all connected in the big overall conspiracy that you're going to kill us. And it's been that way ever since Origins. And this time it's like, nope, you're just going to go and stop a kidnapping ring. Nope, you're just going to go and stop people that are being thought of as yokai. Like, and so that's really interesting. It's a different approach, because they're now all their own mini stories, essentially. Which is kind of cool if you're paying attention to the stories that are happening.
And there's some really cool side quests. That's what I said. There's some really cool stories that happen in there. That's like it's clear that the Odyssey team that did a lot of the RPG side questing is here. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Valhalla was a mess. Like there was just the little blue. I think it was colorblind. I think it was just the little blue markers that represented.
They were not even really side quests. They were world events.
Mysteries, I think, is what they call them.
Mysteries or world events. Yeah, so.
They were so bad. I hated that. I hated that so much.
Especially because you platinumed it.
Well, so. Yeah, but that wasn't why I hated it. I hated it because like it just wasn't a good. There was no way to track it. There was no quest log. There was no way to track your world events. You had to do it then, or you would lose it.
Yeah, the only quests that you could track were basically main quests. So.
Right. So it was just bad. I just didn't like that approach to it.
Yeah, Shadows is better. Shadows is better than Valhalla.
About it when they first announced it.
Yeah, Shadows is much better than Valhalla. That's like clean.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I prefer from Valhalla is the soundtrack and the modern day like focus that it had. But other than that, like Shadows is the better game. So
miles better. Like I said, it is in the upper echelon of the Assassin's Creeds, and I'm only like 22 or 23 hours.
Me too. I don't know yet how upper in the upper echelon, but it's definitely upper echelon for me. So
yeah, like personally, it has not reached Odyssey levels yet for me, which Odyssey is my number 2. So it's not up to number 2 yet.
Yeah, and that's where me, Rick, you're with me. Like we don't think too highly of Odyssey, right?
I mean, I do, but I don't. Yeah, Odyssey's fairly low down there for me. I thought it was a good game that was a really, 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 really bad Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, but it's a great RPG on its own. So, but that would be fun. Like whenever you finish it, Joe, or if you finish it, Rick, if you want to do like let's all rank all this series.
Yeah, we will. We've got that planned as an evergreen thing we want to do at some point.
Yeah, at some point, like if you don't get distracted by other stuff, like something that shouted out that will get there first before that.
Yeah, we'll talk about what you're playing still. So
yeah, so like always, like I tend to have like a few multiple games kind of going through. Like I finished God of War, my replay of God of War 2018, and for the first time, I immediately jumped to Ragnarok because last time that I did a replay, I gave myself a break before I did to Ragnarok, like I did last year around the time that I played the PS4 version of Ragnarok to get that platinum. And I realized that a lot of my negativity last time that I talked about Ragnarok stemmed from the fact that I was playing the fucking PS4 version instead of the PS5 version, where there's infinitely more loading. And like it's way slower.
Wait, did you do that intentionally or no?
For the platinum. And that's the last platinum I get, and I haven't gotten a platinum since because I realized that
you guys, I cannot with you guys. Jesus.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. I'm not that crazy. I'm not going to go back and play a worse version of a game for a platinum. I have the Judgment Platinum on PS5. I'm not going to go back and do Puyo Puyo on PS4 and get Judgment's Platinum. Like,
yeah. So that was like I realized that doing it that way. It's probably why I was like, Joe, remember you were guessing around the time that I was playing Ragnarok last year, and I was like, I was so conflicted about those early hours that are like the most like limited, and they were like,
I'm just still reeling from the fact that you just played Ragnarok since I've been doing this with you somewhat, and you're playing it again. Like that is mind-blowingly wasteful of time to me. Like I just don't get that at all. But I mean, you do you, of course.
I mean, you went back to Yakuza Kiwami.
I was about to say that too.
Yeah, but I did, but I was achieving something different. I had a goal in mind of let me get this done, and now I'm probably never gonna play Yakuza Kiwami again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I don't need to.
Yeah, last time when I played Ragnarok, I did it because this is something that I also gonna do with Forbidden West, of like a game that I initially loved that then my mind started being very conflicted about, and when it came out on PC, I was like, okay, it's back in the discourse. I'll do it now and get this platinum that I always said that I wanted to get, even though I had the PS5 one from back in 2022. And this time I'm doing it because I replayed the entire series over for the anniversary. And I was like, I want to see how it is playing it immediately after 2018. I didn't do that last time. And I feel I've turned around massively. But I'll say they added a couple qualities.
Who told you so on that, Alex? Who told you so?
A certain guy with like a yellow shirt and a hat right now here. So,
that's right. I was on the hill from day one saying everybody was wrong about Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe, here's also something funny, and I forgot to mention to you, especially how you've described the series as a puzzle game with combat. Ragnarok will literally tell you everything from second one. Like it's a game. Like if you ever play that game, you'll notice, especially if you don't enable the new if you don't enable the thing that they've added now, where it's like, hey, shut the kid up, for him to not tell you like the puzzle solution immediately. Like they added that now, like a few years later, and that makes the flow for me better. Like, I'm not feeling like
I think
you're
I
entering
have Ragnarok downstairs. I think I brought it with me for this trip in case I had Shadows problems. But
yeah, I know,
other things happen.
But I do find funny is like I was like, that feels like a thing that they did for people like you. It's just something for you to know if you ever get there. It's like that game's literally gonna tell you everything, right, Rick?
So I want it unchecked, right? Like it's automatically that way.
Yeah, it's automatically unchecked. You can go check it as a, hey, shut this kid up. Let me figure this out on my
so I leave it unchecked. Own. Don't go in the settings. Got it.
And they fixed transmog, because before they had they added transmog in this game that wasn't there in the 2018, but it was a very asinine. You had to like level up an armor piece all the way to like its max in order to be able to transmog. So it was like, it made you want to commit to like one armor piece. And now that you can freely transmog everything, I was like, I'm feeling like I want to have his fur coat in a winter area, like, and put it on top of this current armor that I have.
Are you ready for another hot take of mine, Alex?
No. We can't deal with that right now.
Yeah.
I think that transmog is the most wasteful feature.
Yeah, kick him now.
To care about in the game. It's not wasteful to do. If you've got the time or the budget and you want to do it and throw it in for fun, go for it. But I can't see trying to like transmog my characters for any reason whatsoever ever. I just don't.
So you're telling me you never reach a point where you find something that has much better stats, but you hate the look of it and you want it to look like others? You tell me that never happens to you?
Sure, but I just deal with the fact that it doesn't look as good because I don't care.
And that's what transmog is there for.
I understand what it's for. I don't care enough what the character looks like. I'm playing the game.
I also don't understand how you think it takes all this development time.
Yeah,
it's literally like
time to do it, and you want to do it, go for it. But I don't understand why people love it so much. Like why is it something
Alex
you care so much about?
I'm
not a Fashion Souls guy. Like
I cannot stand using gear that
looks crappy but has good stats.
Either looks bad or doesn't. Like maybe it has like major clipping issues and stuff like that.
I think I can tell you the 2 times I've ever actually like actively transmogged the look of things. One was in World of Warcraft, which was like the first game to really introduce transmogrification as far as I'm aware, and like as a term it existed. I didn't ever heard of it before that. I would keep all of my gear to look like the special shaman gear because I like to look like the shaman. I felt like that was really cool. And then 2 is actually Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where I really liked where they patched it in. I really liked the look of, I think it was like the Athens set, and I just always set it to that. Outside of those 2 instances, I can't think of any time that I've ever really put that much effort into changing how a character's gear looks. I just play whatever I wear.
Yeah, in any game that's all about loot and how loot sometimes looks, it's like it's imperative for you to have transmog. Like it's just as tiny as it may be. It's like some people really love the fashion game. We have Rick here that has 4 different sets and shadows for like the weather. There's some people that are like,
I know he does.
Yeah, and that sometimes can be very to me that makes it more immersive because I kind of put myself like into the shoes of a character of like, I like the stats, but in this point in time in this desert he would probably be wearing this instead of like this other thing, and I feel that just kind of adds with the immersion. So
I don't know. I think that immersion is important in games, but you already are operating under a suspension of disbelief when you see someone, jump into a hay bale from super duper high up and survive. Like,
Assassin's Creed is stupid.
I don't care that Yasuke is swimming in samurai armor when he would 100% would immediately drown the moment he went into water with samurai armor on. Like Rick, if you're gonna go swimming in one of the lakes in Shadows, are you putting Yasuke in light gear so that he can swim properly? Like, is that something you would do?
I never said I did that. I just said
I'm asking. Yeah.
No, I don't change it like by the minute. I change it by the season. And again, part of that is also to allow me to use different weapons instead of using the same couple weapon types. Now I'm like, all right, in the winter I'll use this one, and this, blah blah blah. But also Assassin's Creed, while an example of a game where it's achingly needing it, because perfect example would be, let's look at Naue, right? I want to play someone who looks like an assassin. Well, some of her best gear is not necessarily assassin looking gear, right? And I went out of my way with Odyssey to have like a specific like look and stuff like that. But a way better example of this is if you are playing something like the game that we haven't mentioned yet, not so much that one, but like an RPG where you're actually role playing. It's like, again, right, that's where gear stats really come into play. And if I'm playing a wizard or whatever, right, and the stats on a stupid piece of, let's say, leather gear are what works, that doesn't fit what a wizard would look like walking around. It's like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be able to transmod to look how it should look.
Yeah. And that's just a sense of immersion.
That it's a good option to have. It doesn't bother me enough that I really usually do anything about it. That's all.
Yeah, the thing is that to me, like in circling back to Ragnarok, that I don't mind. Like I like when transmog allows me to do that. Even in freaking Horizon, I like transmogging my armor. It's like in that game, the only way for you to transmog was to like commit to an armor piece all the way to level 9 to even be able to do that. And that felt limiting for a game that's all about the min-maxing, all about like the loot. And so I was like, it was all like Ragnarok always had this tiny little details. I was like, you nailed so much. Everywhere else, why are these little details wrong? And I feel like further updates now have like fixed that. I was like, I didn't realize how much that changes my relationship with this game. On top of that playing it immediately from 2018, I am noticing the thing that Ragnarok nails is being payoff of almost everything teased and set up in 2018. And then when you look at these two games next to each other, they almost feel like a part 1, part 2 of the same game, how much kind of like everything really clicks into place. And when you don't have a bitch in your upper shoulder be like, oh, why is this thing linear? You realize that that this game kind of like has a good flow to it. So it's like, I kind of got a little too caught up on certain circles that like crapping on this game to realize that
and the platform that it tends to be on.
It tends to be on too, exactly. That I was like, no, you know what? It's like, look, 2018 is special to me, and I think that relationship will always be special to me. How that game like is the reason why I'm still gaming today. But I feel like that doesn't take away the fact that Ragnarok is an improvement in many areas. The only area where I feel 2018 is slightly better is kind of like a more layered, calmer way for you to like explore its world, whereas Ragnarok is definitely more segmented in like smaller chunks because it's like a much bigger game. It's not quite an open world game, so it's like that's kind of like the only difference. But from like a story perspective, it resonates more. Like I have forgotten that game punches you in the, like Joe, I feel you may tear up at the beginning of Ragnarok. I'm not telling you why. Let's just say that your profile picture,
brutal.
Yeah, your profile picture gives me an idea. So I'll just say that in Discord.
And I talked to Alex when I first played it. It was not long after a certain event happened in my life, and it hit me extra hard because of that. Because it's difficult.
Yeah, that game has like really like very uplifting messaging. I would say, like especially for a series that's so historically dark and brutal. Like there's some of the lessons that game like has is like I have forgotten that they're like very, I wouldn't say feel good, but they're kind of like really profound. There's a specific line. There's really
like specific like familial issues in it, which is interesting. It actually in really like 3 different ways you can look at it as familial. Obviously, first and foremost being Kratos and Atreus, but that's not even one that I meant. I assume you know what I'm talking about. And it's like there was a lot of thought put into like, so without going into great detail, everyone constantly bitched about the Atreus scenes. It's like some of the best scenes in that game
are from him
because of where he is that Kratos never gets to.
No, literally, and I'm noticing that even more. Like I feel you notice it more like looking at back to the 2018 game. So I'm like,
see, I really had not played 2018 anything other than the first playthrough, and when I played through Ragnarok, I'm like, how did that? Okay, Hogue, for example, bitched constantly about 2018. So it's like, okay, I get where he maybe had issues with this, right? Yeah. But the people that say they love 2018 and then they're like, Ragnarok was such a slog, its pacing was so bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. Did you play 2018 like you said you did? Because the reality is, I'm not saying you're wrong about bad pacing, but it has better pacing than 2018. I don't know how that got lost.
Yeah, me having played both, and the fact that Ragnarok also has much better side quests too. Like this has really great side. It has some really great side quests. That the thing that I love the most about side questing that takes you to different places, new places. Great storytelling that enriches like the characters around you. It's like they really like Ragnarok is more like an improvement of what 2018 is. It's just that I feel a lot of people
Alex, they reused the boat launch animation.
Exactly.
How could they?
yeah, just the way how they reused the Aloy dropping from like the rope in Forbidden West. Remember that? It's like they love loving those.
That's people that don't know a single thing
about game development,
game design, and yet they have all the opinions on it when it's not on the platform they wanted.
Where were you? You like didn't complain about the Eagle fight or like the Eagle Vision and like dropping it to the Veil of Hail in Assassin's Creed that is reused literally in like so many. You didn't hear complaints there.
One of my favorite things that I learned watching Mark Dara's channel, Mark Dara on Games, former BioWare employee consultant on Dragon Age of Belgard, but executive producer of the series before that, was the definition of true sequel versus just a sequel.
Like
and he always talks about how a true sequel is, honestly, it really is like Mass Effect to Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3. Those are true sequels, even though the gameplay changes between them. The true sequel nature of them is in the asset share and the repeat of the fundamentals that you save time and allows you to make games faster. So obviously, we talk Yakuza all the time, Like a Dragon. Those are fundamental examples of what true sequels are. They are reusing things all the time. Whereas when you have something like Dragon Age as the example, those are sequels to one another, but they're not true sequels because really there's nothing shared between those games and their assets or their engines half the time. So when you have sequels that are changing so much, and Assassin's Creed games are, honestly, even from Assassin's Creed 1 all the way through Shadows, they are true sequels, I would say, or they're really close to true sequels, even though they change up the gameplay and they overhaul they share enough.
I would say up to maybe Revelations is where they were, but then they kind of made the big change on 3, and that stuck through a handful of games. Yeah, but I get what you're saying, Joe.
Yeah, and it really they still to this day use Anvil. They have used the Anvil engine on Assassin's Creed for like 15 years.
Yeah, though to be fair, for 3, they made a big deal about overhauling it, and even the overhaul came from the way that the animation blending happens and how Connor interacted with the world compared to how it used to be, because there's so funny, like you can go back to like the making off of AC3 when they had AC3 running in that old AC1 to Revelations engine, and he ran the same way, and I was like, it looked so different, and the Anvil 2.0 that they got there was like in a specific way for it to feel like an evolution while keeping the spirit. So
but by doing that, they do save themselves the work. How did they churn out Assassin's Creed so often? Well, they did it because obviously they had a bunch of different teams and things, but they were able to share their assets and to allow things to continue, like you said, with the same exact animation for jumping into the hay that they've had forever. The same, I'm pretty sure that the assassin sound was the same for like 10 games, when you did, all of that was reused, and that's smart reuse of things. And the fact that Ragnarok is good at taking some of the things that 2018 did for God of War is good. That's a good thing. In the same way with Forbidden West, a lot of that is the same. And they changed a lot
and
too.
You don't change what already is good.
It's already good and working. And the thing with, if you remember with Forbidden West and even Ragnarok, these were supposed to be 2021 games that through their smart reuse of assets should have come much sooner than they did, and they got hit by the pandemic. When you really look at like Ragnarok has so much in common to a Yakuza game in its asset reuse, because you go to like, no, literally, like
it's the same zone, isn't it? Aren't they still around the world, the lake and everything?
Midgar is, except it's in winter. But but when you go to the other places are quite different. Like particularly is it Alfheim? Alfheim is nothing like the Alfheim you go to in 2018.
Yeah, like in Alfheim, you enter through a lake.
That was the light elves.
The light dark elves.
That was
in 2018, you enter through a lake. In Ragnarok, you enter through a desert, which is like the other side of the main temple. And you kind of like see the temple where you were. You reach some of the same rooms, and you can they even comment. It's like, man, the last time we were here, this was like all filled of like this insect stuff, and look how clean it is since the White Elves took over and things like that. So it's like you visit some of the same places, but through the passage of time, it's like there's a familiarity of like, I'm coming back here, and how much has changed in the 3 years since the
and also the fact that it's Fimbulwinter now as opposed to just not Fimbulwinter before.
Exactly, and everything's changed. And
you're right. The Lake of the Nine, or whatever it's called, is basically the same map, just with obviously variations put in.
But compared to 2018, that a lot of that game was like you were in the Lake of the Nine as it kept expanding and all of that. Like you eventually get to Lake of the Nine, but it's just like one more world to visit out of the 9 realms that you visit now. So it's like it's not as centered on the Lake of the Nine as it used to be, but you can explore the entire place just frozen in ice. Like
Winter being the winter before Ragnarok for people who don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. They go through all of that in this game.
I'm
they
basically
basically
people don't know if we were talking. Winter is a funny word if you don't know what it is.
I know.
Listening to the podcast.
Exactly.
It's a good word actually. I like Norse mythology terms. They sound awesome.
And then Ragnarok also like a lot of big criticism with the original. Man, do you need better enemy variety? They really took that to heart with Ragnarok. It's like they throw so many new enemies at you.
There is like no enemy repeated across different realms. They're completely different across.
And you remember
realms.
how you fought troll so many times, like a different version of a troll. The first time you see a troll, they even make a joke. Like you ran into it, and Kratos immediately beheads him. He was like, I hope we don't have to see this guy's like as much soon, because like it's like a complete like they took a lot of the criticism of 2018 and they're like, let's fix that. Like what people take issue is that definitely it's a much longer game compared to the other one. So obviously a lot of people are like, what Rich said. I don't agree as much anymore now that I'm not like as pressured with platinums and all of that. That is like, I don't mind the pacing of this game like quite much. Like
it's meant to be slow. It is meant to be slow. That's the whole idea of it.
Yes. And I like the variety that I said. Like the story is just resonating more. Like you with 2018 so fresh in the mind as just kind of like you planted the seed sprouting all over this thing, like with the expansion of the cast of characters and all that. Is like, and I do remember some of the more touching moments like that happened later in that story. Like there's a specific line that still like resonates with me about grief, like what that means. Is like so powerful, like in context, that I'm like seeing it kind of like all together. I'm like, man, I let a lot of bitches like make me think bad about this game when it really wasn't. It's like there's a reason why it's like so liked in general by not the haters. Obviously, didn't have the impact that surprised a lot of people in 2018, but that doesn't take away from this one. Joe, I actually recommend you play it, like for real.
I definitely trust me. It is on my list.
Someday.
I'm really curious how Richard Schiff does in it, because I know Richard Schiff is
Richard Schiff's so good. Odin.
Is that
Odin?
Yeah.
Odin, yeah. So I'm really excited.
Don't listen to
anybody. I love the West Wing. I watched West Wing in COVID for the first time, and that was really fun.
You know what's so funny? They literally were. Do you know how they did Odin with him? Was like, let's just make him Toby. He's gonna act like Toby. He's gonna have walk and talks. He's just gonna enter. He literally the first scene that he enters, he just like doesn't introduce himself. He just goes straight to facts. So I was like, okay, let me just talk with you. He grabs a chair, sits. He was like, you and I, we got some business here. And you know what?
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to play the game because I do like 2018. I just don't love it as much as everyone else.
Yeah, does. That's fine. That's fine.
And there's just so many games to play.
Yeah,
and I mean we should probably move into the next game and start the headlines here, because we've been going for like an hour on like 3 games.
I know, but it's like, hey, we've been playing so much, but I just kind of want to say that
there is, but I'm excited. I will get to Ragnarok. It will be. I will try to get it done this year. I will say that I'll try to achieve it this year.
And also, I would say amazing PS5 Pro implementation. It has great pisser implementation. It's clean. And do you have a 120 frame TV? You have. This has like a great use of 120 frames with the pisser and all of that. Try it with that.
Yeah, that's how I run Shadows on 40 as well. I think I always do the 40. The 40 is the best compromise for things. I've never seen like a game where 40 is the wrong choice when it's offered.
Yeah,
I mean even like up to the Plague Tale game where you know it's like
Plague Tale looked great in 40.
Yeah, so good in 40. If you have the 40 frame,
I can't believe they've never made a pro patch for that yet. Come on.
Yeah, especially Requiem.
That game really needs a patch.
Yeah.
At least I do have one very small thing I wanted to say about Ragnarok. That game also ends with like 6 amazing boss fights like in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Like just there's not a lot of them until you get towards the end, but then they are
boss rush.
Yes.
It's no, I don't mean like
not
that.
quite boss rush, but it's just kind of like
I'm just saying like
joking.
6
I was joking.
Yeah, I get it. But like there was a couple good bosses in 2018 and a couple not as great ones. The best one still isn't as good as like any of these like 5 or 6 towards the end that are just amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember any of the bosses in 2018.
There's not many because it's like a lot of trolls, the big dragon, and the stranger, which is Baldur. So
and
the Valkyries.
And also,
I didn't do any of the Valkyries.
Exactly, you skipped that.
What's her name? Like Magni and Maudie or whatever. And that was
Magni and Maudie. Yeah, that was a good fight. Yeah, but it was like the enemy variety was definitely something that they really was like, we took that personally. It's like, and it's all over that, and it's all over the sequel. So it's like
I look forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm actually like just curious, and also like I'm really curious to see if you catch a twist early that when it happens, I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's like at first I was like, did they earn that? And then when you go back to the story, like you just see this game again, that's like they kind of did. Wow, they hit a lot of stuff like in plain sight without us really noticing. So you know what I'm talking about, Rick.
Yes, I do. Here is a small tip for you, Joe. When you finish it, you haven't finished it.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Yeah, there's still a few more story that's worth seeing. That's what I'm saying. Like it's worth seeing a lot.
There is a character that appears in multiple. Actually, it appears in each realm, so you have to go out and find him. That's when you finished it. You'll know when you did because there's like a secret ending. That's when you've actually finished the game.
Yes.
So what you're telling me is pull up Power Picks and find the guide for how to get the secret
probably.
ending.
I mean, but most of them aren't too bad to find. But
yeah, Power Picks will be more if you want to like really platinum it. I would say don't.
Well, I mean, Power Picks always has, if it's a trophy that has a lot of steps to it, they always have a specific page dedicated to it. So I'm sure there's like a secret ending trophy.
It's not quite secret. It's kind of like it's like a side quest that pops up after you finish.
I'm sure there's a trophy associated with it if it's that important. Is my point, which means it'll probably have its own page on Power Picks.
It probably will.
And actually, the secret ending is not tied to what I was just mentioning. The secret ending, the game does more or less tell you about it. Like it's not like it's this big secret. The characters will say like blah 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 is blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you go do it.
And let's go here. Yeah. Compared to like 2018, that the real ending they didn't even tell you where it was unless you intentionally was like when you finished, went back home, and then the game ended. Saying this one it tells you.
Yeah.
So
I think I did that. I think I figured that out, or I read that somewhere or something.
Yeah, even spoiler because a lot of people are like, "Do you go back home?" I was like, no, yeah, just go back home. Even though there's no like a quest that says go back home. In this one, it tells you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it pops up as a side quest.
Cool. Sounds good. I'll get there hopefully this year.
And then real quick, I've still been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm already in the third biome on the PS5 version. I still say that this is an impressive update for a game that looked pretty good on Series X. And this is definitely one that for a game that I really love, I'm gonna get the platinum for this one because it's all about like being an archaeology and getting everything in this game. And it's pretty easy to kind of get everything here. I mean, I love Indiana Jones. This, in comparison, Joe, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is not a game for you. It's puzzle-filled. I'll say that. So don't even bother here, but I really like that game. And
my interest in Indiana Jones has been exactly zero since the moment it was announced for anything. I don't care.
Yeah, definitely not for you, so don't bother. But Rick, I know you sometimes kind of played. I've seen you like dabble here and there. And
I'm about a 7.5 on it. I don't think it's nearly as good as the reviews say it is. Like, I think it does the IP very, very, very well. Like that's actually I shouldn't say I think it does because it objectively does it well. And actually I like the puzzles. The combat is freaking terrible. Like it is bad. I think it's straight up bad.
It looked bad. I couldn't believe people said they liked it. It looked terrible.
Yeah, it's like the only time that it's good is like if you use the AI against themselves. That's like the only time about it. Like it just
the AI is so terrible in that game. Like
you can really like manipulate.
It's not bad in Wolfenstein. How did they make it so bad in this?
Then you remember it's like there's a lot of like
maybe it's to fit into the universe because everyone in Indiana Jones is so stupid.
You nailed it. Like looking at it from that way, kind of like in the same logic of the stormtroopers in Star Wars barely have any aim. In that logic, like it fits the universe, it just doesn't work compared to like
I've only seen the one movie, but everyone was stupid in the one movie.
Crystal Skull. He's only seen Crystal Skull, never the original trilogy.
well, you started at the bottom, so it only gets a little bit better than that.
I know, yeah. And finally, because it came out today, I started Clear Obscure Expedition 33. I'm only 3 hours in with what I played. I'm not gonna see much of substance other than say that this is a very sad game. Very like if you.
But don't we know that? Like I mean, the literal premise is
yes, but it's like it's
going to die.
The back of the box.
Yeah, it's like I can
read to you what it said on the back of the box when I shared the back of the box picture with you. It specifically said, I'll read it right here. It says, lead the members of Expedition 33 on their quest to destroy the paintress so that she can never paint death again. That's literally what it says. I think we know that it's a sad game.
No, it's sad, but like let's say that it takes advantage of its melancholy like really well. Like how it's kind of starts you. It's like both a very beautiful like beginning and also kind of like very touching like gut punch that is like kind of explains why the expedition is gonna go where it goes, because like this is what it looks like when you reach that age that she paints. or it pains, whatever.
In the trailer where they kind of like Thanos snap into dust. Like, isn't that what it was?
Kind of in the trailer. Yeah, kind of, sorta. In context, it's sadder. That's okay. in context of how you play
it's sadder when you actually know what's happening. But yeah, like the actual what happens, I think they just like demonstrated is they just like poof.
Yeah, in concept, they like it's an excellent like concept that they execute on it immediately to kind of like get you going. I like that there's barely much preamble that to kind of get you into like some of the meat of stuff. I would say personally, so I'm like, oh cool, and knowing that it's 30 hours, it's like it's not gonna be a metaphor or a other that it's gonna take too long to.
You're not gonna platinum it. Oh wait, you're doing it on Game Pass, aren't you?
No, I actually bought it on PS5 Pro because performance mode on the base consoles. This is another rebirth situation. It's blurry. I'm glad I have a Pro. I'll just say that. And I've only unlocked.
You bought it too, right? You bought it for.
Yeah, he's PS5? Waiting. Yeah, he's still waiting.
What you telling me?
Yeah. You bought it. You bought it on PS5, right? You're waiting, but you bought it PS5. Is that right?
Yeah.
I got it on PS5 as well.
I got the collector's edition. It only is available on PS5.
Yeah, no Xbox version, despite the fact that
there was no Xbox version of the Lumiere edition.
I don't think there's I don't believe there's a physical version of the Xbox version at all.
Yeah, they was just for PlayStation. That's why Ains also got it on PlayStation when he bought it.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Xbox just whiffs everything.
Yeah, literally, and I mean, they even undercut themselves.
People turn around and cry that the people don't release things on it, and it's like,
it's like a self-fulfilling chicken and an egg situation with them. It feels like, but so far, like in first impression, I'm impressed with it. There's like some you can tell in a few times that it was a 30-person team making this and some animation work and all that, but the artistry is super impressive. Like early on, like in that interview, like I think a lot of people are sharing screenshots of it. Like I was like, man, a lot of people, 30 people made this. Like it impresses that way. It's like, wow, it's like the production for Square Enix, and that is like pretty impressive for such a small team. And then it's noticeable and sometimes
you know what it reminds me of, Alex? Greedfall.
It's not too raw, like it's like a more polished Greedfall.
But I don't mean it that way. I mean it reminds me of Greedfall in that Spiders was 20 people when they made Greedfall. Literally 20 people made Greedfall.
Yeah.
That is extremely impressive for Greedfall 1. I don't know what Greedfall 2 is. It's not done yet. I'm not going to play it until it's fully released and all that. But I looked it up because I was really curious because I loved Greedfall a lot. And it was I was curious. Spiders had 20 people. It was like 20 people on that dev team that made it. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So that sounds like that. No, I want to ask you though, art, we know it's gorgeous, all that. Tell me about the combat briefly here. Like give me a little bit on the combat.
It is like definitely Persona-like in some ways, but then like the active, like it's in the active nature that I have a couple issues because it's like obviously you can parry and dodge whenever like it's the enemy's turn to come at you. It almost feels like the timing, it's too tight. I don't know if it's because I'm not used to it.
That's a good thing. When I was watching how they did this, I was like, my biggest concern of this is if you learn the timing, you basically will be able to fight enemies that are 1,000 levels higher than you and just be fine.
Yeah, you know, Rick, it sounds to me like it sounds like a dragon. It sounds like the guard system in Like a Dragon.
Which I mean, I can't speak to Infinite Wealth. I never played that, but what I played of 7 was way too easy from the very, very start.
No, I don't mean the difficulty. I mean the actual guarding, like the timing of blocking. Like if you hit the block button,
it feels tighter. Like it feels like in the brief time that I play in the original, because I did play Like a Dragon, like in the interest parts. I remember when it gives you what you can do to block when there's the enemy's turn. Like I feel it's similar. Yeah, it's similar to here, but the window is much tighter. Like there was like during a training session, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta lock in, huh? Like it feels like I gotta lock in more than I was expecting to. So keep that in mind. I'm like, jury's out for me if it's like if I just eventually get it and I just kind of like just lock in on how to do.
Are you playing on like normal or
normal? Because I'm gonna try to review it, even though I just bought it, so I don't have like a commitment to it. Then there's a story difficulty, normal, and then a hard. I don't know like what it's for trophy requirement. I know for you, I like it enough. I think I want it. I heard it's not that hard. I might get it for here. So. Rick just sent me something that's just a personal joke for us. I'll tell you later what that is because we might have someone that listens for that. But I'll explain it to you later, Joe. But so far, like I like what I played. Like it's like I like how I just feel so fresh. I love like its tone. I love like its character writing is so cool. The voice acting is amazing. Gosh, it's like they did good in kind of like promoting that, because the further you start getting to the game and some of the other character actors kind of come in,
they
like
got Daredevil and Clive.
Yes. Yeah, Daredevil's your main character, how you start. And then Clive is still not in where I am. Like apparently he's like a later character, but apparently very important character, and he steals a show. I can't wait to hear that. And the circus is in.
The girl is
Jennifer English.
Yes, Shadowheart.
Shadowheart. So it's like that. They didn't do bad at promoting their voice cast, because it does a lot at immersing you and kind of like believing kind of these characters, even when like your main character looks like Robert. Like, God damn it, Ames, you like put it in my mind that he looks like Robert Pattinson, but it's not Robert Pattinson. That's like that's Charlie Cox. Like, look at him. Like eventually you'll see it. You'll start seeing it. I was like, man, I really see Robert Pattinson in this guy. Gustav, I think is his name.
That's the one that
Charlie Cox.
Oh yeah, he kind of does. You're right.
Yes.
Wait, no, Ben Starr is who voices him, isn't he?
The main character. Ben Starr does it different. Like Ben Starr's not your main character. Charlie Cox is. So he has like a big star.
Also, the funny part is you guys have yet to mention by far the biggest name too.
It was
Circus is one of the characters.
Yeah, Andy Serkis.
Way bigger than the other three.
Yeah, he already introduces him to the story, and he has like a really cool introduction. His face is very similar to Andy Serkis. You'll know it when you get there. But it's like I feel that alone is gonna like carry a lot of the presentation of this game, which is where I have the most issues with. Oh yeah, the lip syncing is kind of off. Like you definitely feel like them stretching their UE5 capabilities out of this thing, where it's amazing like in its environments and the art direction, and the faces is kind of, it gets off sometimes, so that may be distracting. But because the writing is strong, the performances are strong, the music is so like it envelops you. Like this game, like just in what I played, this is a musical showcase. Like it's so perfect for the tone that they're going, that I can't wait to see where it goes. So more to talk about that next week. And
I'll
then
get there eventually. It's sitting on my dining room table downstairs.
Yes, but you're busy with other stuff, which we're finally going to talk about.
We'll talk about. I do want to say that, Rick, it actually did ship in a proper box with like those puffy, plastic things. So it may ship properly for you too. It may not be destroyed. You never know.
Mine wasn't destroyed. Mine was the wrong fucking version.
I know, but that can't happen this time. So
yes.
The only.
Oh, it could.
It could. Yeah, don't jinx it. Especially like
not if it doesn't exist.
GameStop will find the one fucking Atari 2600 version and send that one to me.
Rick, have you like walked beneath a stair or have like a black cat walk in front of you? Because that's like some real luck you have.
This is 3 straight things now that I have bought or ordered or some way from GameStop, and they have some way or tried to in the third case. And they have, in some way, shape, or form, fucked up every single one of them now.
We'll definitely get there.
It's not a joke. Unless I have no choice, I will never buy another thing from GameStop again.
Yeah,
I will watch with glee as that company burns to the ground, because as a former employee, I can tell you right now, they're every bit as shit.
They can burn after June 5th. That's all I'll say before we get there.
No. I want them to burn before June 5th. I don't give a shit.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I want to watch their home office in Texas. I forget where it is. I want to.
It's in Texas.
Is it Grapevine? Okay, I knew they had a distribution.
At least that's where they ship everything from.
Yeah, I believe that's a distribution center. I don't think that's the home office. But
it's probably close enough.
It probably is. Yeah, I want to log on to the news one day and see that building ablaze, so that I can cheer.
But everyone's alive. As I watch hurt in the blaze. Everyone's okay.
Except the CEO. The CEO can die because
he's right. Yeah, the one that killed Game Informer originally. So.
I don't know if that was him actually, but
it was him.
Might have been.
It was him.
Okay.
Yeah, it was him, because it was like the Ben Hansen from MinMax. He specifically like name dropped him as "fuck this dude."
The existing one. Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought it might have been the one before him that did it.
Yeah, he's the Bed Bath and Beyond guy. So like
he was also Chewy, is what the one.
Yeah, Chewy. Yeah, Ryan Cohen. Yeah, that guy. And then obviously you've been distracted, Joe, and also you, Rick, by the fulfillment of the Shadow Drop. Headline number 1 as we go into there. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which we kind of talked briefly at the end last week, Shadow dropped on all consoles, overhauling the visuals, the UI, aspects of gameplay, and other minor tweaks, surpassing all expectations and blowing everyone away, but surprisingly will not have official mod support. So we had the biggest secret that was not a secret. Like we have been hearing about a potential Oblivion shadow drop. Like Joe, you've been expecting this Oblivion like remastered this whole entire year since it started, because you were wondering if it was even gonna be at the developer direct, and there was like all these different rumors, and then last week we heard about it, and you're like, I'm so tired, just kind of want to see what it is, ready to buy it.
Me. Yeah. They were trying to kill me, Alex. I'm certain of it. I think that they've heard my PlayStation love, and they're like, gotta kill that guy.
Yeah. And obviously, Rick, you have told me.
I'm sure that's why they wanted to kill you, Joe. That's what it was.
And you, Rick, you have said like we've had a few discussions about what you think about recent Bethesda game students, and specifically, you were a big Oblivion guy.
Yeah, so just to clear this up, I don't think it's even come up on this show, but
yeah, it's just personal conversations.
Yeah, people think that I hate Bethesda Game Studios, and that could not be further from the truth. I've always described it as, I know what that team is capable of. I was there for Morrowind. I was there for Oblivion. I was there for Fallout 3. And then, unfortunately, I was also there for Skyrim, and I was also there for Fallout 4. So I know how easily they will rest on their laurels and make, you're not going to like to hear this, people, but bad games. Or not, at least, if not bad, at least lazy games. Because those two games were very, very lazy. And actually, I liked Starfield. I know a lot of people did not, but I at least saw that team trying something different and trying something pretty like they were reaching, not to be punny about it, but they were reaching for the stars, so to speak, right?
Yeah, it was ambition held back by their tech.
Exactly, it was very ambitious, and with actually, honestly, only a couple of tweaks, I actually think that a lot of that would have been a lot better. Like I don't mind the fact that you were essentially fast traveling between things, but if they would have made it a more seamless thing as opposed to going into the menu to do it every time, I think it would have worked a lot better. But
maybe
nonetheless,
they're still updating it.
That's what I'm hoping. I am hoping they'll make that like you can access your star map while you're in the scene or whatever, right?
That's why I haven't really played it, Rick, is because I know that they have sworn support for this game for like a while, so I'm just gonna wait. I don't have any rush. There's enough to play. I bought the collector's edition. I showed you guys 2 weeks ago my credit chip that was there, and I'm like, I will wait to play because I do love Bethesda in some ways. Oblivion, especially, I really love Oblivion. It is my
you mentioned it often. You mentioned this in your top 10 favorite games of all time. I don't know where that ranks for you, Rick, but you said that it's seminal. Like
a generational is what I said. Yeah. But it was. I mean, the reality, like, I don't know if it necessarily ranks in my like top 10 favorite, but it is indisputably one of the most important games ever made.
Yeah,
it absolutely, like, it was the game that, as of the 360 generation, pushed what an open world game would be. It was the game that created a living world where it wasn't just a bunch of people standing around. Now, certain people, certain developers like Obsidian apparently lost the memo when they released certain games this year about NPCs actually moving around. But it was the first time that NPCs followed a schedule and they went to sleep at night. And I mean, this all sounds pretty stupid nowadays, but at the time, this was groundbreaking stuff.
It's amazing, and it's to this day, it's still amazing that they managed to do it, because there's a lot of games that don't do it still. They don't do that, you know.
And this was on 360 in 2006. Think about that.
I mean, like, when that happened. It was
3 months after launch.
We talked like 35 minutes about Assassin's Creed Shadows. The guards don't follow schedule. Like, there's no schedules for those people there. They are just background. I mean, they're not background because they're moving, I guess, but they're just extras in a play that are there to pitter patter around while you sneak around and do stuff. Like, there's no schedule there. The shops don't close at night. Like, modern games do not do what Oblivion did 20 years ago, almost 20 years
especially
ago.
Now that they're kind of more complicated to make. So
yeah, like, I mean, you have games that do it. You have your Kingdom Come Deliverance 2s and even Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 as well. But
that's what I was about to say. Is Daniel Vavra actually did say that Oblivion was the game that kind of convinced him to make a game like that.
He
was obviously making Mafia before.
You can tell.
If you know Daniel Vavra's pedigree of Mafia 1, Mafia 2, which I hate Mafia 2. It's the worst game he's ever made. I hate Mafia 2. But if you know his pedigree of like setting things with some level of real world accuracy, with Mafia being like speed limits and ammo, and like there are a lot of real things set up in those games, and then you take his obvious and stated love of Oblivion and Bethesda's games like that, and you merge them together, you get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, you do. Like, that is what comes out of that combination. it just is. So yeah, you can see it. It wears it on its sleeve.
Yeah. And so actually it's funny because when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out, in what, February 10th or whatever it was this year. In the first hour, that's not true, maybe 2 hours, when you're actually starting to be able to wander around the first map, the first thing I said was, I have not felt a sense of exploration like this since Oblivion. And then Oblivion comes out, and those two games, more than any game I've ever played in my entire life, captured a sense of exploration that I
would
have
agree.
never seen before.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Again, why I said that I reinstalled Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, because I was also playing this remaster. Me, as someone that first played Oblivion officially in 2021 through like backwards compatibility, because this was a game that
the first time you played it,
like officially without watching someone play it or renting it. Like, as like I own this and played it. Like, I never had the Oblivion experience like fully. Oof. And so it was like getting to experience that so late after playing the other games. I was like, slightly harder to get in with like how Byzantine a lot of its design choices were, considering that
map that's 3 inches by 3 inches.
Exactly. Exactly. So like, and the thing that helped me play it was that the Series S and X version had that 4K 60 patch. So I was like, okay, at least I can play it, because I tried playing that on Xbox One, it was unplayable. I was like, oh no.
Again, I do love Oblivion. Even the original Oblivion has its specialness to it. And we'll talk more about the remaster as we keep going here, but that map just makes it so unplayable for me. I can't deal with that map. I mean, if you have a 77-inch screen, the map is still like 20 inches. It's in the middle of the screen, in the middle of the menu box.
Yeah. And what's interesting, what's interesting is that I went back. They kept a lot of the spirit of this map, but now it's like in a proper, like it's more easier to properly read it.
That's the whole thing. You can zoom in and you can zoom out and you can see.
Oh, I thought you were saying with the remake. I'm like, man, I don't have an issue with it at all. You mean on the
old one? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The old,
I was like, what the heck?
No, the original version still has its charms, is what I was saying. It still has charms about it that are really cool, that hold up to this day. But the thing that doesn't hold up worse than anything else, even worse than the face models and the jank, is that map to me. That map is a killer. It makes it unplayable. Because
not anymore.
I like to look at maps and I like to see where I'm going. And I would never want to go back and play it with that map. And I did. I went back a couple of months ago. I don't know what sparked it. I had no inkling that this was coming this year, but sometime, I think it was in like November or December of last year, I went back and because I have PS Plus Premium, I went and I played the premium streaming of it just to check it out again. I was bored one night and I was like, I'm gonna look, and I just did the opening. I just did the sewers and exited, whatever that is, 30 minutes, and I looked at that map and the game and I was like, yep. And then I turned it off and I didn't play it again, because I just wanted to see it and refresh that memory of what it was like in there. And it is exactly, that map is as bad as I remembered it being all these years later.
Yeah, because like the original version, despite looking nice in its 4K 60 like backwards compatibility, like what they did to it was like, okay, at least it looks kind of nice for what it is. But it's taken me like 3 years out of constantly butting against this lack of quality of life and things like that, that I got to the point where like the Sean Bean character was like ready to lead. So that was the last thing that I played. That was like back in 2024 early, when I came back from the States with my Series X. I got sick and I installed it and I played it briefly. It was like playing this remastered is like obviously we had a fun conversation about what a mess the whole idea of remasters and remakes have become, because it's like I do feel that the visual uplift this game got, like the name remaster, it's a complete misnomer, because it's really, really impressive what they've done.
They should have called it Oblivion Remake.
Yeah, because it exists kind of like there.
I just can't agree with that. I think because, and so did you guys see the IGN article that Bethesda explained why they called it remaster instead of remake?
I did. Yeah.
I completely buy that. It makes perfect sense to me, because this game, despite its absolute gorgeous overhaul, which is out of this world, how good this game now looks. It's really, it's crazy.
And like, one-to-one,
it looks better than Skyrim. Despite that overhaul, the feel of the game is still so similar to the feel of the original Oblivion. You still have the kind of weird menu, and you still have the the combat, system is pretty much the same. It's tweaked the UI to make that more manageable and more modern.
That's the thing. Like, I just recently played the 360 version, and it's night and day, the feel of the combat. It really like it's night and day.
Yeah, like, they improved the feeling of the combat, but it still functions. It's still functionally the same. You still only have one weapon and a shield. You can't dual wield things. You can't dual wield spells. You get one spell, which I think is new. I think you couldn't have a spell, and like there was no quick slot spell in the original. Alex, do you remember if there's
you could quick select the spell like in the hotkey that was like
that was what made Oblivion better for me than Skyrim is
that you could do that.
Number one, you could have a sword equipped and still use your spell, and you could block no matter what you had equipped. Whereas Skyrim makes it that it's just whatever you have.
Yeah, but so the point is like they did change these things, but the UI of the game looks as if I really think that a 2006 game through the modern technology lens, the way that Bethesda described it, is a very accurate thing, which is why to me it really does still feel like a remaster. They didn't change anything from the ground up. It's still the same bones operating under it. They still have the same broken voice lines in there.
I love that they have that. I saw the clip that they got the double take in. It's still there. It's still so funny.
So some of these things they didn't rebuild it. They kind of like took the skeleton of it and they put new shell around it. It's like a shell. The core is the same, and then they just kind of put a fresh shell on top of it. Whereas you have a remake of something like, I know we've gotten into the discussion of remakes versus reimaginings, but like Resident Evil 2, which is,
a reimagining.
It's that one that sits in the reimagining. That
I know you guys think that I still disagree, but you have the.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You have the rebuild. It's a rebuilt game. It is not using the same structure that it was,
and that's what's funny. You're describing literally Resident Evil 2. It's like it's not at all one-to-one how it was in the original.
Let's use Demon Souls then. Let's talk Demon Souls. Demon Souls.
That's one-to-one.
Demon Souls is a one-to-one graphical remake. Yes,
that's a one-to-one remake. I agree. I do think that that's a remake, but the reason that's a remake and this is not is because that is a more new build. They built more stuff on top of it, from what I understand. They built more onto Demon Souls rather than just improving the graphics. They remade it. They used the same source code.
You're wrong.
No, they didn't.
It's the same source code.
The only thing that they did with Demon Souls,
but other than that, they rebuilt the world.
Yeah. They tell him, Rick? Yeah, they were saying?
Yeah, the only thing they did with Demon Souls in terms of changing, not counting graphics-wise, is they had to, in some way, adjust some of the animations to make it that they fit the time, right? Other than that,
they rebuilt the world to build it. They didn't.
It is the exact one.
It is to the pixel the same world. It is exactly the same.
Layer by layer rebuilt to look exactly the same in a higher quality, versus this one where they kind of just left the skeleton alone but changed the outer shell of it to make it look prettier. It still feels the same.
And here's the irony. I feel they've done more work with this Oblivion Remastered than Bluepoint did with the Demon Souls remake. Okay. And that's kind of why I tell you that right now this whole idea of like the remaster and remake conversation is like so messed up because of the different games that have been like qualified in specific buckets that would make sense in other buckets. Like, for example, you mentioned Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Like
in our private chat,
exactly. And like in our private chat, just gonna bring it here. Like, for example, those games, those three Crash games and those three Spyro games, one-to-one, the literal same game as they were in PS1.
The exact same number of steps to get from one.
Yeah, RE2 remake, not even close to that. It's like a complete change.
The map is completely different.
Yeah, so that's why like RE2 specifically doesn't belong in that conversation because it is not one-to-one. Like just as similar as you see Final Fantasy VII remake to that original PS1 game. They completely reimagined that entire game beyond going further with that whole story, the whole story shenanigans. But like just fundamentally as games, it's like the gameplay of RE2 is so completely different. It's like changing from a tank control game into a full-on third-person shooter with complete AI, and then the Mr. X that follows you everywhere that wasn't even there in the original game until a second playthrough with a second character. And in that main game, he exists like from moment one. It's such a completely different game that the only thing that's so similar is like the spirit of some of the story elements, and even then they changed some story around in that game.
Yeah. So that's why like let's Here's a fun little game.
Yeah.
I pulled up Wikipedia's list of video game remakes and remasters.
Yes, I want to hear. Let's put it like in different buckets so we can understand why.
I'm just gonna go through a few of these and just tell you my impression of them, just so we go. I'm not gonna go all the way back too far. I'll do like 2016. Okay.
Yeah, the more modern ones, like PS4 era, like because more.
Yeah, so I was gonna start in 2016 here with Zelda. Okay. Oh no, we'll start with Kiwami. We'll start with Yakuza. Yakuza Kiwami because it's 2016. That is a remake. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, that is a remaster. Yes. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that is a remaster. BioShock, that is a remaster. Batman Return to Arkham, remaster. BioShock 2, remaster. Skyrim is special edition, I don't even know what that is. That's just a
remaster.
That's a re-release.
That's a re-release, yeah.
Okay. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is a remake. StarCraft is a remaster. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is a remake. Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age is a remaster. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue is that is with Dream Drop Distance.
Okay, yeah, I say with Dream Drop Distance. The rest is actually a different thing, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Dream Drop Distance. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is a remake. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu is a remake. Shenmue 1 and 2 is a remaster. Luigi's Mansion is a remaster. Shadow of the Colossus is a remake. Assassin's Creed the Ezio Collection is a remaster. Dark Souls Remastered is a remaster. Let's see.
Yeah, can you link me that thing real quick in our document just to kind of have it there because there's so many lists and I know I'm gonna make different arguments for anything. Just send it to me real quick.
Yeah. So far I actually agree with everything said.
All right, it's right there. It's in our chat thing. Link's Awakening is a remake.
Yes.
Let's see here. Resident Evil 2 is a remake. Medieval is a remake. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is a remake. Let's see. The Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, those are clearly remasters. Assassin's Creed 3 is remastered for sure. Persona 5 Royal, that's I don't know what that's a
remaster would basically be.
Yeah, it doesn't look any different. They just added more stuff. It's just kind of like an expanded version. Final Fantasy 7 Remake is a reimagining. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is a remake. Resident Evil 3 is a remake. Resident Evil 2 is a remake. Warcraft 3 Reforged is a remaster. Mafia Definitive Edition is a remake. SpongeBob SquarePants is a remaster. The Battle for Bikini Bottom. And then we go, just scrolling quickly, Demon's Souls is a remake. Modern Warfare 2 Campaign is a remaster. Definitive Edition of Xenoblade Chronicles is a remake. Mafia 2 Definitive Edition is a remaster. Kingdoms of Amalur is a remaster for the Re-Reckoning edition there.
Yeah, that's a remaster.
With additional content too, but yeah.
Yeah, remaster with extra content, sure. Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition is a tragedy. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is a remake. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a remaster. Alan Wake is a remaster. Skyward Sword HD is a remaster. Let's see. I'm just trying to go quickly here because there's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, it's so many of them.
Big ones. Last of Us Part 1 is a remake. Life is Strange Remastered Collection is a remaster. System Shock. I think System Shock is a remake, actually.
System Shock is a remake, yeah.
I think that's a remake. Resident Evil 4 is a remake. Dead Space is a remake. Like a Dragon Ishin is a remake. Tomb Raider trilogy, 1 through 3 and 4 through 6 are remasters. Rebirth is a continuation of the reimagining. Persona 3 Reload is a remake. And that's it. That's all I'll go through. So I think the only ones we really disagree on is I don't consider the Resident Evil things to be reimaginings. I think they're just remakes.
I would also argue that Persona 3 Reload is a reimagining as well.
Yeah.
Because they pretty fundamentally changed that game.
Yeah, and the thing is that it used to be much easier to differentiate the remasters that were completed, like how Ryan McCaffrey calls them, the file save as same game, but it's been like up-res from how it was. It just put it like in a higher resolution. And remake was always called a game that they completely changed the visuals to what it was before. That's kind of what it was. RE2 Remake was one of the first remakes that completely changed the entire game. How it was, it was not like if you played the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1 to the PS1 version of Resident Evil 1, that one was just like a what you would describe Resident Evil 2.
It's close. There's differences, but it's pretty close.
But it's so close that it would fit more the description that Joe mentions versus what RE2 and RE3 are.
Let me ask you this way, then, Alex. If I played RE2 the original and then I played RE2 remake, if I played both of them, am I gonna know how RE2 remake ends because of RE2 original?
No. They've slightly changed the ending too, but to fake.
I mean, the general story beats, of course, but you're not gonna know how.
That's it for me. Then I'm gonna go with that's a remake. That's all. That's the definer for me. That is the defining piece.
Then again, by that logic,
Final Fantasy VII is the same.
Yeah, it's absolutely not a remake. It's absolutely not a remake.
Exactly.
By that logic.
It's literally that. That's a problem.
I'm pretty sure that like the whole like the whispers and the highway fight and all like a lot of those things are not a part of the original game.
The highway fight is in the original.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah. The highway fight with Sephiroth is in the original game.
No, not just
the broken highway thing.
Eliminating the Sephiroth at all. That entire highway sequence is in the original game.
Yeah, but you can't just eliminate Sephiroth from it. That's a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he just said Mr. X. Like that's a complete change, and he follows you through 2/3 of Resident Evil 2.
That wasn't there in the original either. So it's like that's why like Reimagine is like eliminating just story because games are not fucking stories; they're games.
Right.
It's
changing the story is in that case almost nothing, and almost nothing would be a reimagining then.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't change the story. You still follow the story.
RE2 and FF7 are the most extreme version that you're not gonna like play the original game and then play through those through the remakes and know exactly what to do because they really changed a lot. And I would say, in your defense, remake is like the Final Fantasy version is more an extreme version of
extreme, yes.
It's a more extreme version of that same idea for a remake that is so completely different from that PS1 original. Like that's the difference because and these are like. That's why like they should exist in remakes because we've had like as you were reading, there were remakes that are considered remakes when like for example those Crash games are like 1-to-1 the exact same fucking game as the PS1 games, but the visuals are being so redone, the quality of life of some even just control feel and all that has been improved. They put that on the remake thing. I have to say Capcom fucked everything up. That's kind of what I have to say because like they went so far above and beyond what was expected from the Resident Evil 2 remake because people were expecting the same thing they did with the game.
They were expecting RE1 except
with like the fixed camera angles, tank controls. It was just gonna look prettier. They went further. They literally built an entire new game on top of a lot of the same bones. Though similarly, what FF7 remake and Reaver did, that is like a lot of the bones and how you're going from point A to point B of that story is literally the same. Then you add the whisper stuff, the new combat system, the things that they've added to the end is like you see these both games, just one is at the more extreme, but they are the two that we can separate completely from the remake conversation, and then everything else is right in that list.
Also, the last thing I want to say on this, because we do have to keep going on the other things here, is if it were me saying something, I would, if I have any interest in Resident Evil games, if I played RE2 Remake, I would have no interest in playing or curiosity in playing RE2, the original game. I think I would get the same exact stuff out of it as I get out of playing it because it is the game and the story and the game and the story. Whereas 7 Rebirth and 7 Remake are clearly 2 games that are being extrapolated out of a single game. So if I'm playing 7, the original 7, there are enough differences because they made them so much bigger and so much longer that I'm getting something different. And that if I had any interest in playing the original 7, I would be able to play the original 7 and go, oh, now I can play the remake because I'm going to get something new out of it. And I don't think I'm going to get anything new out of playing remake of RE2 versus...
You're also comparing a 40-hour game to a 6-hour game.
Yeah.
So like it's completely not the same thing of what you're trying to say.
Yeah. And it's again, if you're only looking at it from a story perspective, again, that's you.
I'm just saying, I don't think there's value in playing both RE2 and RE2 Remake. I think there is value if one was so inclined, and I'm not, but if one was so inclined, there is value in playing 7 Original and 7 Remake, Rebirth, and whatever they have the next one called.
I slightly disagree because there's elements of that original PS1 RE2 that's not even here in the remake either. And even how that story goes, like they retweaked some stuff based on where the series eventually went. So you definitely see two versions of similar stories. Similar is just in the FF7 versions. you get that meta commentary they try to add with the nature of remaking a story with like the whispers.
Meta commentary is what makes it a reimagining for me. I think that is more what makes it reimagining.
No, again, it's like the subjective nature of like how you're looking at it as a story versus the objective nature about what these games are. And that's the thing. Like separate the subjectivity of how, for you, there's more value in Final Fantasy VII, like what the remake as a reimagining does in its extreme, versus the fact that in the remake pantheon, the one that started this whole idea that you're not gonna be playing a one-to-one version of the same game started with RE2. One walked for the other one to run. They exist in their pocket. One is and then you get one that tries to not rock the boat as much while already rocking the boat by already changing the entire game fundamentally, while then the other one changes the game fundamental in the same way while adding that stuff on top of that with the story. That's the thing.
I would never have given the credit to remake to remake. I would never have given that the credit of starting
because you didn't play it. That's what people were saying, and that's the thing. You didn't play it when people saw remake. Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't fucking care that you don't get that you were not interested. The facts are that when people played RE2 remake in 2019 and saw remake the Final Fantasy VII at E3, the initial conversation was they're doing the RE2 thing. This is not the same game as it was in 101. Gameplay is different. Gameplay elements are completely different. They're fleshing out stuff. It's like this is not like playing one to one. I've
never heard a single person in my thousands of podcast hours compare the RE2 remake to the 7 remake. I've never heard that comparison.
Yeah, you needed to listen to more stuff. You said that you were not even listening to many people anyway. Rick like backs me up with this. Like that was one of the comparisons they were doing.
It's exactly how it was described when it first was happening.
And that's why it won like game of the show like back in like 2019. It was one of the most impressive things that people saw.
I don't deny it's impressive. I was impressed by it, and I don't have interest in it. It's very impressive.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, but again, separate your subjective. I didn't care about it to like the fact that one started like started this whole mess in the first place.
If you had played the 2 versions of the game, you would not be debating with us. I can tell you that right now.
Exactly.
You would say, yeah, you guys are absolutely right.
And that's the thing. Like, and me personally, I prefer Final Fantasy VII the remix as a game personally, even myself. But I understand like where they exist in this pantheon. And they completely changed, and again, that's why like they should be called reimaginings, both of them, because they're not the same game. They absolutely are not. They are not.
Yeah, but I will say Final Fantasy VII Reimagined doesn't exactly
yeah.
The tongue, so
and again, they messed it up for everyone. Yes, yeah. I hope they do. They call the part 3 Reimagined, and that would be like the fun.
That would be amazing.
Yes. But that's kind of what's so funny.
Already did Reunion, so we don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, going into it, I was sure they were gonna call it until Crisis Core came out. And I'm like, well, there goes that.
And circling back to Oblivion, why you're calling it a remaster? It has, to me, in my mind, it has so much in common with the Crash games, the Spyro game, the Shadow of the Colossus game, where you're talking how they're still like feel like how they were in that origin in those original games. It's like they are making it a disservice calling it a remaster. When you see this remaster, when you look at this list, they were just the operas. This is not an operas. They made more work. They're continually adding to the muddiness of what it means to be called a remaster and a remake, separating the entire reimagining conversation out of this.
Well, whatever we want to call it, it is phenomenal. You know, it really is. Just I've got about 3 hours in the game so far. I don't have as much time as I would like because, of life and shadows and other things. But unfortunately, real life work and all that nonsense. But it's phenomenal. I have played just a little bit of it and I love it so much. And it's gonna be a time sink for sure. Yeah. I'm gonna try and split time between Shadows and Oblivion Remastered, but I don't know which ones. I'm probably going to end up having Shadows win out for a little bit because I like to progress the story and beat the new thing and just have that Oblivion comfort food to go back to,
Yeah, my thing is that this Oblivion re-release, it's so good that I'm like, I never expected to be like, I kind of want to keep playing it even now with like Expedition 33 like over here. Because that's how good it is, because you forget what a cozy game Oblivion really is. And they recaptured that so spectacular that even me playing the older version, there was a coziness to Oblivion that I was like, man, if only this played slightly better in its systems. Like the vibe is just so immaculate. Like
that's because, Alex, Cyrodiil is a comfortable place. Skyrim is not comfortable. Morrowind is not comfortable. Morrowind is like creepy and dark and sketchy, and Skyrim is like cold and barren and boreal. Oblivion is Cyrodiil, and Cyrodiil
it's
is
like a forest,
just like medieval fantasy Europe.
And I would say that it feels more like a, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there something that there was like some procedural generation that was happening when you were going in between towns? That feels like it's not there anymore, right? It feels like
that's what I was going to say. I mean, the general terrain I don't believe was procedurally generated, but the grass and whatever there was, and certainly tree layout was 100% procedural. Whereas now I do believe it is like
all handcrafted. It feels like a place that you can like more like easily like case yourself as you're exploring. It's like it's just like it just feels so well, like the work
you can still walk up a mountain.
Yes, no, that's what's so funny, but it's interesting to know like the tricks they used back in 2006 to now and how they did it. And it again makes me like, you guys put so much work for this. Like you guys are really underselling it.
There's really better mountain climbing in Oblivion Remastered than there is in Shadows. It's so like I went straight up the Gerals, Rick. I went up in through the one ruin where the well is, right across outside of the sewers when you get out. Went straight through up to the fort that's right up north of there. Explored that fort. Apparently I missed the well thing, but I went up through into the Gerals straight up, and I just went whoop, and the next thing I knew I was like level with Bruma, which is like super high up in the mountains. I could see Bruma right there. It was like same level. I just like skirted along the corners of the mountains until I got to the gate. Like that, just walked right up a mountain.
So I will say, I mean, I'm totally agree with what you guys have said completely on this so far. I do have two complaints, one of which is relatively major, one of which is a little bit minor and more specific for me.
Yeah.
The major one is the game is still a technical mess right now.
Yes.
It absolutely 100% needs bad optimization improvements because
they patched it twice already.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that. But
they patched it the day of, and then they patched it again like the next morning.
So in fact, like I was gonna just play this on Game Pass, and then like when I went outside,
it's almost unplayable on Xbox.
It was starting so much that I was like, I'm gonna take a shot with the PS5 Pro version, and it stabilizes it more in the performance mode outside like in world. I was like, I would have never played this on a PlayStation console because I associate this so strongly with Xbox, but that quality mode is so unplayable like in both systems. It's like it's not stable. It's like it's so unstable on its 30, and then on 60 it's so stable in dungeons, but out in the world you feel the stars.
It clearly has massive loading issues, or streaming issues is probably the better way to put it, because you can see where it's hitching to load more data as you go, right? I tried it on both Xbox, which I agree, same thing with what you just said. I was at first I'm like, okay, this actually runs okay. Then you get outside, it's like, nope, it does not.
Immediately.
Yep. And I have it on PC where I have gotten it to run better, but it definitely still needs improvements. My friend had said, I'm not having any issues at all, but he just got a brand new PC. I don't remember what his CPU is, but he has a 5080, I think. So he's got a much faster computer than me, and he's like, oh yeah, I've got everything maxed out, including the Lumen ray tracing. Lumen's hardware ray tracing, blah blah. He's like, I'm getting like 100 frames a second, and I was like, well, it might just be your CPU then, blah blah. And he goes, well, that's it. I haven't left the dungeon yet, and I'm like, oh, well, there you go. I was like, it ran perfect, like 80 and for me. Boom. And he said, yeah, as soon as I stepped outside, everything plummeted to like 50, and I'm like, yeah. So it is clearly the engine, and it is clearly optimization.
It's so funny because I tried it in performance or in quality mode off the bat just to see, and literally I was in the jail cell you start in, and I turned the camera around and just looked around, and I went, nope. And I put it right in the performance mode.
I did the exact same thing, Joe. I did the exact same thing.
Noticeable?
Yes.
It was that noticeable?
Yeah, it feels like it drops to like 25 in stutters all the time. I'm like, this.
I mean, I didn't notice any stutters, but I could feel that it was running at 30 for sure, and it was a very clunky 30, maybe 28 frames. Like it was not smooth. It was the same feeling I had when I had Horizon Forbidden West running in quality mode before I switched into performance mode, where you can see the camera moving versus the smooth nature. You can like see and
I remember that.
Like, and now I don't have. I mean, I'm on the PS5 Pro. I have not noticed any major stutters or hitches in my little bit of time playing in the outer world. But I've noticed the frame drops, but I haven't noticed the stutter.
Yeah. I only notice it when I know that they're loading a bigger asset. Like when you see like the big capital that where you go out of the initial prison, and then you kind of like go up the mountain and keep going back down. If you're just walking there, you feel a little bit. I feel there is like a asset loading that makes it stutter, but it feels at least more stable. I feel maybe like if I had a VRR TV, that would probably kind of like smooth it out a little bit more. But I don't, so I see it. But I felt it more in the Xbox version. I was ready, like I was pleasantly surprised playing on performance mode on the Series X initially. I was like, this is like weirdly well optimized. Hell yeah, Bethesda is like, this is a great job. And as soon as you got out, it's like, I don't know if I'll be able to like withstand this. Like knowing mentally, I have another version that I could play that's better, and then I bought it.
So. I cannot imagine the game is even playable on a Series S. Like that's got to be rough.
I'm really excited for Digital Foundry to do a video on it.
I'm excited too.
Every day. I'm like, come on, Digital Foundry, give me the video.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that too.
The other issue that I have, and I know it was a big ask, but I was really hoping, since they've done it with all their recent games, I was hoping that they would have a survival option in this, and they do not.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
cool.
Yeah, like specifically, I want it how it works. I actually don't really like how they implemented it in Starfield. I want it how it is in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
But the only one
something positive to say about Skyrim.
Well,
it's still my beating heart.
Look, long after the fact, understand that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for those who don't know, because I'm comparing Skyrim to Fallout 4 here specifically, right? Fallout 4, when they have their official survival mode, it's tied to the difficulty, which I don't like at all. You have to set it on survival difficulty, which is then the highest difficulty. But and then and that's the only way, without mods obviously, that you can turn on all this stuff. Skyrim, it is simply an option that you toggle on and off, and I'm like, that's how I want it. I want to be able to play it on whatever difficulty that I want, but then have it where I need to eat, sleep, and drink and all that stuff.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, like it's like, man, I know that was a big ask, because they did technically take, I assume, one of the mods and put it in the creation mode in those two games.
They
but
did.
It's like it would have been.
I know they did.
You're right.
Because they sold it to you at first.
No.
Yeah, there was a mod you could like. It was in the Creation Club mod that you could buy as one of the purchasable ones at first, and then they added it as a later edition.
I thought they gave it. I mean, it was a creation mode. You're right, but I thought it was given away for free from the very beginning.
I know that I don't have it on one of the versions of Skyrim I own, because I would have had to buy it from the Creation Club. I don't remember which version that was though.
But you know what? Maybe you're thinking of like the 360 version. I think if you had the Xbox One or whatever, PS4 version, I think then it was given to you for free.
Yeah, I know it was given at some point. Yeah, that I know.
Yeah. But I like how it works there, where it's just simply an option in the settings that you activate, and then it turns it on. Yeah, but you can still play it on whatever difficulty degree you want, as opposed to Fallout, where you have to play it on the absolute highest difficulty, which is freaking hard. And when you consider that like they also take away your ability to save freely, it makes it really. And also consider the absolute massive amount of crashing issues that Fallout has, and it really makes it quite difficult to actually use it, because you lose hours upon hours of progress sometimes because the damn game crashes.
KCD2 props for it. Does not crash. It really does not crash.
I don't know if I've had a single crash in that game, actually.
I don't think
that CryEngine doing some work, I tell you.
Well, CryEngine is rough. It's they customized it so much.
Yeah, compared to this hybrid that it's creation like underneath with a coating of UE5 on the top, kind of. I think that's how they described it.
It's impressive that it even works that way at all. The fact that is a possibility is really, I mean, it's kind of like game changing if you can do that to old games, and you don't need to get rid of their original base engine. You can just throw UE5 to make them better looking. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah. What's interesting is that this makes Starfield feel 2 generations behind, like in comparison. It's so funny to think like the work they did is like it is that impressive. I'm legit impressed what they did with Oblivion. I was like, like it's legit impressive. It's again like I still like however they're describing it. I still feel that it's like a underserved, like they're undermining the amazing work that they did for this thing, because it just feels so fundamentally better. Like me, that I had such a fresh like experience with that 360 version recently, and comparing both of them is like man, you guys did work. You absolutely did some work that is like man, just call yourself or be like, again, like why I get so frustrated by what like this whole situation of what happens with remasters and remakes, because it's like the work they've done here is even more impressive than a Shadow of the Colossus, than a Crash, than the Spire. It's like it feels like they've done more work, and putting yourself in the same column as the op-resses to me feels wrong. That's kind of how I see it.
I somewhat wonder if this is a little bit of Bethesda ego coming into play, where they don't want, the one made by somebody else, even with their assistance, they don't want it to have, or put a stigma on their version. Because Bethesda has an ego. I think we all know that pretty well at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder if that plays into it.
Yes, and again, it's
impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah, it's just so impressive. And up to me, it's like you keep modeling the waters, but regardless of terminology, it's like your work deserves praise. It's insane this got shadow dropped. It's insane this is as good as it is, even with its issues.
And its sales numbers are ridiculous. It was
especially
like
on Steam,
180,000 concurrents just on Steam alone. I mean, that's outrageous.
Yeah, it's like it just shows you that the high sales of Skyrim were no joke. It's like there's a reason Elder Scrolls is so popular as a like RPG.
And I love the Elder Scrolls. I really do. I don't know if I've probably mentioned at least once on the podcast since I've been co-hosting with you, Alex. But like I drop into Elder Scrolls Online like once a year or so and just do the content that they put out, and I always buy their collector's edition digital upgrade for the
that gives you everything.
Their chapter. Like I just go and I do all the stuff, and then I don't play it for the rest of the year. But because I just love the Elder Scrolls world, I love that lore, and the biggest killer for ESO is that it still doesn't feel like Skyrim or Morrowind, and I haven't played that much of Morrowind, a little bit, or Oblivion. It feels like an MMO with an Elder Scrolls coat of paint on it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the interactivity, right?
You loot the chests, and it's just ingredients to like make drinks and food. Like that's all you ever find in any of the little like crates and barrels that are in the dungeons. And you open your chests, and it's just junk loot. And I don't care about any of the multiplayer stuff. So like you buy I always have to buy the expansions separately because I don't want the dungeon content because I don't care about the dungeons. Like I just want the story stuff. So like it has this. It's good. It's so nice that I get to still be in this world and explore it. But it's
a facsimile.
It feels like a facsimile. It feels shallow in a way that you don't feel exploring. Even Skyrim, as much as Rick has issues with Skyrim is a very deep world when you compare it to the Elder Scrolls Online. The only reason to play Elder Scrolls Online is because you just like these stories and you like the lore and you like exploring.
And to be fair, there's a reason Skyrim is so popular too. Yeah. It's like these games are so like obviously have been outclassed in presentation by so many others, but there's something about like how they're built and how malleable they can be and how infinitely replayable by the way that you manipulated those words. There's a reason why they're so beloved, and I think this Oblivion Remastered is reminding people of that, and hopefully let's an ass under Microsoft's butt and Bethesda to get done with 6.
Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, lit a light on their butts.
I don't think that's what you said. You're gonna have to go back and listen to that. I think you said something else.
Yeah,
I thought he said butts.
Yeah, butts. What do you hear?
It's all right. We'll talk about it later.
Yes, but
well, I was gonna say that there's a reason also. Actually, 2 reasons, but why they are probably the most commonly games commonly modded on PC. Firstly, because the engine is made to be modded, right? This is something that Colin needs to take the L on because he's 100% wrong. He's 100% wrong when he says that the mods shouldn't matter. Because when it comes to Bethesda games, there is zero debate that modding is genuinely a large attraction to these, right? But then also the fact that by the nature of what they are, people that mod them can turn them into the games that everybody else wants them to be. It's why it is such a popular practice with this.
Yeah. And let's see if Sky Oblivion ever comes out now.
I think it will. I mean, they're almost done.
And did they ever give like an idea or what's supposed to be this year? Man,
it's supposed to be this year. Yeah,
that's such interesting timing.
I know that they gave Bethesda gave the entire Sky Oblivion dev team free copies of this of Oblivion Remastered, which was really nice.
Yeah.
It was like giving them a participation trophy, basically.
Yeah. But hey, if this is what was required for Bethesda themselves to make like an official version, like Joe, you mentioned that it's console like available, is like I'm glad that it happened. And to me, it's like
got trophy support.
Yeah, that wasn't there before, and it's not seemingly that hard of a platinum. It's a completion platinum.
So it's not even a completion platinum. Like you don't have to do any side quests that aren't factions. It's literally main story, all the factions, and like the arena, and you're done.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that all in one playthrough where you need to save scum. Do you know?
Yeah, it's all one playthrough.
At least on the 360, it could be one playthrough.
Oh, that's cool.
It's funny, you know, Rick. The platinum in Skyrim is one playthrough capable, but also you can. There are missable trophies in there if you don't get the Daedric weapons. There are Daedric weapons that you can you have to get a certain number of Daedric weapons, and you can make choices in there that will mean that you don't get the weapon, and then you lock yourself out of the trophy. And that's part of the reason I don't have a Skyrim Platinum is because I locked myself out in my first run on PS3.
Yeah. You can also lock yourself out of it when it just stops working on PlayStation 3 too.
Yep, the famous rim lag.
And the only problem with it on PlayStation 3 was after you played for 8 hours, you would have a memory issue and you'd have to restart the game, and it was fine.
That's not true. It became unplayable.
There was a reason it became a meme, and they built a PS4 like they did.
Playing it on PS3, I just had to restart the game every 8 hours of play, which was, I was in college, so it was a lot. I was playing 8 hours a day of games often.
And to be fair, requiring that out of a console, it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
and especially when the other console didn't suffer that. So
it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, but that was you. And there's
my collector's edition. I still have my dragon. I have my big Alduin dragon on the wall.
Yeah. There is a reason they cited Skyrim as the reason they built the PS4 like they did. They didn't want a memory they didn't want a memory leak issue ever happening again, or that being the problem.
They were never able to fix it. I remember that they were looking into it. They could never fix it.
Yeah, they mitigated until a certain point and cut back on some stuff to kind of fix it, but it could never be fundamentally fixed. That's why instead they were like, PS4, we're not gonna do split memories ever again. We're going full on RAM. So. Because that was a very damaging for the game of the year of 2011 for it to not really work on a system with
fine for me.
Yeah.
Well, and then it happened. I shouldn't say again because it came first, but it happened with Fallout 3 originally, and then it was happening with. I think what happened with all three Creation Engine games. It happened with Oblivion. It happened with Fallout 3, and it happened with Skyrim on PS3.
Yeah, and it was just more pronounced in Skyrim because it happened much earlier than in the other ones. So. And
Skyrim was the biggest game of the 3 by a mile on PlayStation. Yeah. So.
Man, some of those videos are running at 5 frames a second. God. It's amazing. It's just such amazing, how busted that thing was on PS3. It was I'll never forget. I had friends that busted like that never wanted to play a Bethesda game ever again after they did Skyrim. After they were let's buy it because everyone was hyping this Skyrim. Boom, busted. To me, a main quest broke and I never finished it. So.
Never had any of that kind of issue. I know I had the frame drops and the memory leaks, but just restarting the game was always enough to make it run.
You say you played on college. When do you go to college, Joe? Were you in college in 2011?
Yeah, I started in 2011. It was my first semester.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was thinking because I was I know you and I are kind of the same age, so that kind of makes sense.
I graduated in high school in May of 2011, and then I was in college in November, obviously, because college starts in August.
Yeah, and that's kind of when it came out, but legendary time, the internet never forgets in that one. There's a dream lag. I
remember very clearly the day that Skyrim came out because I had been trying to finish White Knight Chronicles 2.
I did came out that year.
Yeah, because I had played White Knight Chronicles 1 a little bit and I hated it. And then because I was stupid, I went and bought White Knight Chronicles 2 because they had remastered White Knight Chronicles 1 and made it playable. And I got all the way through White Knight Chronicles 1 in White Knight Chronicles 2, in that version. And then I was on the last chapter of White Knight Chronicles 2. I just made it back, because White Knight Chronicles 1, you go this way, and then White Knight Chronicles 2, you go back across the map the other way. I was back over here in the map, and I hit this point where your main character gets taken away at one point, a story chapter or two earlier, but comes back at the level he was when he's taken away, and everyone else is extra strong, and you have to play as that main character guy. And so he's 20 levels lower than the enemies and whatnot, and the only option I would have had was just grind for hours to level him up in the enemy zone before the boss or whatever. And I was just I just don't have time. I got Skyrim coming out, and I never played it again.
Yeah, those were good times. I wish
it's also different. Nowadays, I know most people grind less as they get older, but I've definitely welcomed grinding a bit more as I've gotten older. Maybe just because I like the peaceful nature of it and the chill podcast time, but
yeah. But yeah,
my PS3 is right there. My PS3 is right there in this room, sitting over there.
Mine is still over here too, plugged in, because that's where I played a lot of the.
Yeah, but normally when we do this podcast, I'm not in this house, so it's normally not over there. So right now it happens.
You usually have it over there where you are. That makes sense. So that was the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion talk. Basically, go play it if you're on Game Pass. So just know that it may be chuggy.
Buy it. Forget Game Pass. Buy the game. Buy this game.
Yeah, if you're.
I wish I could buy it physically, but Microsoft don't want to let me do that. So
yeah, that
Rick,
too.
If they do release a physical, if they announce it in like 6 months, I'm gonna buy it. Like I
will too.
But do it, like for sure. Do it. Show them that there's a market for that. So because I assume
on Xbox.
I know you're gonna get the PlayStation because that's you buy physical on PlayStation, like like a civilized person does. Yeah. Then I bet you're gonna get the physical for this. Sucker Punch Ghost of Yotei today. Was it today or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. The release date revealed.
It was today. It was today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like everything's just such a blur right now, especially with the other thing that happened. The release date revealed in random PS blog post along with a new trailer that Joe is not going to watch. I did watch it. Launching October 2nd, 2025 for $69.99 and the $79.99 like digital deluxe edition if you go that way. And also collector's edition has also been announced to be available with pricing to be announced. Fun fact, in Spreading the Nerd, when I guessed it a few weeks ago, when Marathon had its reveal and they put their release date, me and Rick alongside Silkenit, we were kind of having a discussion of where Yotei would go now that we knew that Marathon was in September. I had made the argument that I could have seen it be in August as 2 months after Death Stranding.
It was yesterday, sorry.
It was yesterday, yeah. Like everything doesn't, like everything's just such a blur. But because obviously Death Stranding is in June 26. Iki Island came out in August, and the original Tsushima came out in July. So I was like, I kind of see it being like an August, thinking of the whole GTA 6 of it all. And Rick said that, funny enough, Rick also was hoping that it was going to be October because he has a stacked month of interest in August.
Well, I have a stacked end of August because when Metal Gear Solid Delta comes out, the entire world stops. Basically.
Same for me.
Yeah.
So and then you literally said, I think I could see it in October. I was like, I could see it depending on when GTA 6 comes out. And then here we are, October 2nd. This basically at least tells me GTA 6 is definitely going to be a November game, if not a 2026 game at this point. If you're confident for this.
I'm going to guess maybe like second or third week in November. Yeah, because I think Thanksgiving this year is very, very late November. I want to say it's like 27th. Like it actually might be the very latest it could be. Yeah, I'm gonna guess second week maybe for GTA. It doesn't matter. I mean, they can release it on Christmas Day and it would sell just fine. So
it can be shadow dropped and they can have an Oblivion moment. Yep. And whatchamacallit, Joe, real quick, take your headset off.
Okay.
If you don't want to hear about the structure of it, I guess.
Exactly, because there's something in the trailer.
All I know is that you go after Onryo. Like that's
okay. That's all that was really going to be said. I will say this is even more straight up Assassin's Creed now, the way that it's structured.
Yes, more than more. And also,
I was really annoyed that they announced that. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And not only that is like it seems like the inciting incident is straight up shadows. Like I was like,
similar.
Yeah, they're gonna be like more similar than I was even anticipating. I was like, that actually works out to Shadow's favor for having come out early, because if the same story or a similar version,
they'd never heard the end of it if Yotei was first.
It was like, man, they must be really lucky how like the stars aligned and that they came out so early, and then Yotei's like so far off now. That I know, it's like because it's like this was March. That was it's a 7 month, 7 month gap.
8 months.
I'm
sorry. You're right. In March. I'm thinking February. March. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the original release date of February that then got pushed to like March. So it's like So that worked out well for Shadows. Even then, second best-selling game of the year is multi-platform. So it's like I know Yotei is gonna do well. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Yotei could be a better game. Just spitballing there. Like I feel there will be some elements that maybe Assassin's Creed does better, maybe like in its photorealism. Like
I'm gonna guess it'll be just like it is now. I still believe. Well, I can't say believe because it's just objectively true. Shadows has far better stealth than Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
Honestly, Ghost of Tsushima's stealth is not good. But the combat is good.
I really never use the stealth. I always like to go out and be like, come fight me.
It was so satisfying, even though you could do stealth, but it was like so limited. And then me that I play Shadows and went back to Iki Island, I was like, I felt it more. I felt the stealth even more.
I like Joe just said, I went out of my way not to be stealthy in Tsushima because I thought it was bad. But
the
combat was
great.
It's
so much better to not be stealthy. You know, it's so much fun to do the fighting.
Yeah, and especially me going back to Iki Island and getting back into that flow is so satisfying. And to me, it's like that. The combat is like, I much prefer not having health bars. I like that how like chunky, quick it feels like in Tsushima. I bet it's gonna feel the same way here. Hopefully, they have a health bar. Huh?
You have a health bar,
but it's not kind of like the
health circles.
The health yeah.
Oh, the enemies. You mean the enemies? I'm sorry. I thought you meant yours. Okay.
Yeah, you know how you're fighting enemies in the Assassin's Creed games that everyone has health, and this one has after
everyone
a couple
has armor. What is with the stupid armor? Why is there armor?
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, okay, I think the Shadows can breathe a sigh of relief. That whatchamacallit, like they're so far away. They'll get. I feel there's gonna be a lot of people that will see this Yotei trailer and are gonna be like, I think I already played that game. At least just in spitballing, even though I know they're gonna be different, but it's just so funny to me. That was the first thing that struck me from that.
The only thing I'll say is the exact same thing I said before Shadows came out when the same discussion was happening, except the other way around. There's plenty of room for both.
Yes.
There's plenty of room for both.
Yeah, and the feels and the intent are so different too. And I feel like Yotei will be successful just on the fact that Sony first party. A lot of people are hungry for their first party, literally
borderline starving to death, you could say.
Yeah, I know the bearded sensation here doesn't care about first party, but there's many of us that do. So, and finally, because this is why my brain is such a haze, because this was last night and it was today. Nintendo Switch this pre-order day happened today, and it was yesterday and today, and it was a total mess. Retailers' websites struggled to keep up with demand. Additionally, this kind of happened in between last week's recording. We got the Switch accessories prices, which have been raised due to the tariffs, while the console remain the same. So they're kind of like just raising the price overall of everything else around the console, except the
$5. Everything's going up $5.
Yeah,
there was something that raised 10. I forget what it was.
It changes depending. I think it was the dock that got raised to 10. Others got raised
to but I'm pretty sure everything else was $5.
I think the camera was also 10. I think it went up to 60.
The cheapest thing got raised to 10. The most expensive thing raised $5. Gotcha. I think it was. Okay. So, but that still puts you closer to 100. Like $95 Joy-Cons. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's insane. 90 was already insane.
Yeah. So obviously, like it's so funny. Like Joe got his Switch 2 yesterday through Target. I got it today thanks to my brother-in-law. Rick, you had quite the experience. And I feel
have you heard clicking the entire episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been like, man, that was like
I've seen
what a mess.
Numerous times I have had it in my cart on Walmart.com. Numerous times I have gotten to the cart and got to where I apply the payment, and all of a sudden it sells out because for some stupid fucking reason, it being in your cart doesn't give you any amount of time without someone else being able to fucking buy it. Make sense of that to me, because I can't make sense of that.
I never got to the payment in Walmart. I had it in the cart a bunch when I was trying to help Alex get it, but I never actually got it to payment. It was always just like hit checkout, and it was at payment, and then every time I hit place order, it was like
that's what I'm talking about. Like I've got it to that stage, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you click complete payment or whatever it is, then it says there's an item no longer available, and it's like,
and it doesn't take me any time because I had the address for shipping in there. I just clicked PayPal, so I didn't have to type anything.
Yeah.
Same.
It's such a, to me, like the thing that pisses me off so much is that this is not the pandemic anymore. All these retailers should have seen what happened back in 2020 and 2021.
And on GameStop specifically, there is zero excuse for the fact that it fucking would say not available, but it would be red, which meant it was working. And I didn't know that. And there was like 3 times I had that. When I would press it, because I'd use it on my phone because my work is run by fucking assholes that have blocked everything. But I shouldn't say that because they're actually Jewish. So calling them Nazis is pretty fucking bad, actually. But but yeah, they block it, so I had to use it on my phone, and I had a couple times where I had not available in red, and I pressed it and it didn't do anything, so I was like, all right, so I refreshed it.
Yeah.
There is zero excuse for your website being so fucking broken it can't even have the right word written in your fucking button.
It crashed. It went through gateway error literally from second one. Like as soon as like the hour that they kept telling us, like, go to bed, we're doing it in the morning, just like chill out, don't worry about like this other other 3 retailers that are screwing you like at midnight if you're on Eastern time. And it's still kind of messed up. Like my brother-in-law, like I asked him, be like, you're in the US, please help me with this. Like I had multiple, like Joe was helping me, like out of the goodness of his heart, because I didn't ask Joe to help me, knowing that I was gonna ask
your brother-in-law to help me too.
Yeah. And then
it's crazy because I on the website for GameStop at one point I managed to get it in the cart, but the moment I had it in the cart, it was sold out and it never came in stock. Like the first moment I got it in the cart, it was just not available anymore. It was saying out of stock the whole time. Yeah, I did what Rick said. I hit it, got it in the cart with the not available red button, and it was there, but it just never did it.
I just can't understand why they don't just function with a queue. That is the obvious way to do it. It might be frustrating
either, though. I mean,
well, I'd argue they'll work a lot better than what we just dealt with.
So
I guess. I mean, Best Buy never actually let me go in, and like they kicked me out of the queue and sent me back to the product page.
That's because Best Buy is a fucking wreck too. So.
And then I went into the queue again, and then it shows, and then it comes as like 10 minutes later, it's like, sorry, not available anymore. It's like gone.
Yeah,
and then, the Target thing was busted. I don't even know how I got it through Target, honestly. I literally just got it. Target was the first one that went live. So as soon as it did it, it was breaking. It wasn't going in. I just kept hitting until it went into the cart. And then I had the credit card all ready to go. So I just hit it and I did it and it was nothing. It was like, error, please try again, error. And I'm thinking that like it could be a fraud alert on the credit card. So I tried to go to PayPal. PayPal was broken. It gave me like a broken token to go to PayPal.
Man.
So then I took my other credit card, which I have more direct control over because I've got one that I use that is managed in our family, and then I've got one that I use as my credit card that I mostly use for like eating and travel, but I can use it for anything. Put that one in, got the fraud alert, approved it, and then I just continuously pressed place order like for 7 minutes straight. And then one time I pressed it and it went to, you have an order placed. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, and that was like 12:19 a.m. It took me 19 minutes.
What I find funny, Joe, is like, I think it was a few weeks ago you said that you were not gonna get it at launch. So I was very surprised that you ended up buying it.
Because I don't have any particular care whether I got it or not. But to me, it's like I should at least try because I can always just have it in my possession. And then if I needed to sell it to someone else who couldn't get it, or if Jane decides she wants it, because that was the other part is she loves her Switch. She plays her Switch all the time.
It could be hers.
Bundle because she's never played Mario Kart, and I'm like, that could be fun. So like, I'm not just buying it for me. I'm buying it for us in my mind, rather than like, because I got so many other things to play that I'm like, if it was just me, I wouldn't have bothered. But when you factor in the fact that it's me and her, and you factor in the fact that this price is never going to go down, not because Nintendo doesn't lower their price, but because we don't know what's going to happen with the economy and the markets and everything. It just made more sense to just buy it at this price rather than them jack up the price, because we now live in a world where companies raise the price of their consoles as they get older instead of lower them.
So like we saw with PS5.
It makes more sense to just buy it at launch. And the only hesitation I had on buying it at launch was if they released the OLED. But I don't care about it because I don't really play it portable, and she does, and I don't think she really cares at all anyway. So like I was like, I'll just get it. If I can get it, I'll just get it. And then I got it, and I was like, okay, I'll have it then.
Yeah, it was like it was so funny. It was like you wanted it more kind of like, let's try to get it, and the people that wanted it the most got more screwed. It's so funny.
I wasn't going crazy over it. It wasn't like the PlayStation 5 where I was going crazy over making sure I got it.
Did you tell me that you went back and forth to like a GameStop like 3 times, walking into it, like back and forth just to make sure it was there? That tells me you were going crazy with that one.
Yeah, so what happened with the PS5 one really quick, because we are coming up long here, was they were like, PS5 going live tomorrow for pre-orders, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I'm checking the internet, and everyone's like, Walmart's live. This thing is live, and this thing is live. And I'm like, but it's supposed to go live tomorrow. So I walked up to the GameStop, which was, I lived on a street that was like an avenue in Brooklyn, and then I was 2 blocks from like the main drag of the area where all the stores were, and the GameStop was like right around the corner. It was like 2 avenues up, and then like boop, right there. So for me, I was like, I'm just gonna walk to the GameStop, because I don't know if they weren't picking up the phone or what, but I might have even called them and asked. But I know I went up there. I was like, hey, are you guys taking PlayStation 5 pre-orders? And they're like, no, we're not taking it today. I promise you, we're not taking it today. It's gonna be tomorrow, not today. it's not allowed to be done today. I'm like,
liars.
okay, if you say so. And then I saw people going on it, and I was like, I'm gonna go up and see if I can place this order. And it was 2 or 3 times. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3, but I know I went up at least one more time. And then one of the times I went up, I was like, can I place the pre-order? And he's like, yeah, you can place it now. And I'm like,
yeah,
I knew that it was gonna happen today. I knew it. So I had that one pre-ordered, and then I also had one pre-ordered on Walmart's website, and I had both arrive on launch day when it came out 2 months later, and I ended up getting 2 PS5s.
Yeah, what do you do to the other one? Like
my buddy Brooks, I sold it to my buddy Brooks.
Cool.
At cost with, I think he paid the shipping up over to him in he was in
yeah, that's cool.
at the time.
That day, that day is infamous. I'll never forget, September 16, 2020. The day of like, tomorrow's the pre-orders. No, they open today. I'll never forget like the absolute like madhouse that was like the scramble.
I think I took the Walmart one because it was already in a box. Like it was already sealed in a box, and I just like didn't open it, and I just brought it right to the UPS or FedEx or whatever it was, and I dropped it off, and I sent it his way. And then he had that for a while, and then he sold that one because he's I don't even want to talk all about him, but he sold it and ended up buying another PS5 at some point in time. So that one's gone, and he bought a different one for reasons. But nonetheless, that's what I did. So I got the money back. I had a lot of luck getting PS5s because I ordered 3 PS5s in the time that it was scarce. The 2 on launch day, and then when I started at my current job, I had a coworker who was my like trainer, I guess what he was at first before I got promoted. He was my trainer in that particular role. And he was like, yeah, I love games, man. I couldn't get a PS5. They're so hard to come by. Because this was like late 2021. So still in the COVID era, still in the hard to come by console era. And then I just happened to see Wario tweet on Twitter one day. I was like, hey, PS5s are up. And I texted my coworker. I was like, hey, do you want a PS5? It's available right now. I'll buy it and ship it to you. He's like, oh my god, yes. And then he like gave me his address, and I bought it, and he like Zelled me the money or whatever for it. So I got 3 of them in their scarce era.
Man, and then I got none because I didn't attempt it in 2020 because
it's different for you.
The thing was that in 2021 my parents were like going to the States often, so I was like, during those times I was trying to scramble by trying to calculate whenever they were traveling if I could get it shipped to them, and then I had to go through this nightmare. Like yesterday was Vietnam. I have literal Vietnam flashbacks of having everything open, having Jake Randall stream, like going him and him sending me the alerts of like when things were dropping and all that, and failing. That when I finally got my PS5 was one of our local stores that I'd gotten a few things through credit. That's why I started getting credit. I was like, I'm gonna get it through it because F this. I'm so tired of the time waste that is check-in. Oh yeah, error. It's like, it's just so stupid. Like I helped a friend later on that year. He wanted a PS5. I was like, I think I'm gonna help him, and I started to do the PS Direct queue. Initially I always kept failing because they put in a line and they kept selling out before, but then when you log in into those PS Directs, it's like, this is so nice because then you have ample time to then pick what you need, do the checkout and all of that, and that's it. And I was like, there's
just no control over where you are in that line. I hate that feeling of like, I don't know. Like I did at the very moment it started, like for the PS5 Pro
yesterday,
special edition, the anniversary one. Like I was there the moment it happened, and I was like 1,000th in line, and I didn't get it. Like that's the worst part. Is like you're in that line, but you don't control how you get into that line. And I really think that Nintendo's approach of like have play hours on your console and have this and you get access. I think that's a good approach to it. I think Sony did that
except the way that they've done it is not a good approach.
Yeah.
They have already said that they may not send out those invitations until launch day.
Yeah, because the demand was so high.
The concept of giving access to the most dedicated fan base.
I agree. I like that in concept.
I'll be honest, even though it's annoying, what I wish they would all just do is what I don't remember who it was, but somebody did it in Japan, and basically it was if you wanted one, you put in for a raffle.
It's all done that way in Japan. Japan always does it that way.
At this point, I will take the risk, and I'd say let's do it that way instead of this bullshit of fighting to get logged in all the time.
Today was the day that Nintendo was announcing who gets to buy it in Japan. Like this was the day they were announcing it. Apparently,
much better because it's the time waste of like the.
Well, right, you don't have to waste your time. At least you know if you can get one or not.
The time waste sucks. It really does. Like I mean, I Alex, between the yesterday and today, like I think I spent like 3 or 3.5 hours trying to get your PS5,
I know,
just like refreshing and
Oh,
whatnot.
how
And like I was
terrible to
working
spend
and
three and a
refreshing at
half
the same
hours.
time. Like
instead of the 7, the poor 7.
you're like typing on the
7.
computer, talking on the computer, and
We're
then
at 10 and a
refreshing.
half now.
Yeah, Rick is still going through that. It's like I gave up.
I've given up.
Yeah, when because I was looking when Jake Randall stopped his stream, I was like, it's over. I was like, it's so I was stuck. I was like, I gave up. I was like, it's gonna be again how it was here. I'm gonna wait for it to come here at up mark, and I'm gonna get it through credit here because I'm not gonna waste my time anymore. And then my brother-in-law was like, so I had a meeting that got canceled, and I had a GameStop closer, and I went in and he snapped it, and he got me a pre-order. I was like, man, I felt like the relief.
So there was no line at his GameStop or anything?
No, there wasn't.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was in Pentagon City over at DC. So it was like
yeah.
So he said that there was no line. He just kind of went in, asked. The one that sold out was the bundle. He got me the basic one. I was like, I don't care.
Because I went out to check and see if my local one, because I mean,
yours was packed. The picture you sent me.
It was, yeah. There was, I mean, and that was 2 hours after they had gone live, because the store opened at 11, the same time that they went live online. That was like 1 o'clock, I think it was, something like that. When I went out, because it was like lunchtime. I was like, let me go. I'll go and drive. The GameStop is like here, and then like across another plaza is the smoothie place, and I was like, at the very least, I'll just get a smoothie for lunch if I can't get the GameStop thing. And I saw that line, and I was like, no, I can't. I'm working. I can't just sit in this line here.
It's what I told you. I was like, yeah, don't worry. When I saw that line, I was like, look, I understand.
Yeah, my ultimate plan would have been, because I'm in Florida, I'm not in New York right now, and I won't be here when it goes live, is I would have transferred my Target order shipping, because I can change where that ships to. It's still letting me, like, it gives me that option. I would have changed it to your brother-in-law or your sister or whatever.
So for that one,
I would have had my friend and neighbor go and pick the Switch 2 up and just have it waiting here for me whenever I came back down, a month later or whatever. So that would have been the plan if I'd had to.
Yeah, to me, it's just insane that it's so funny that the best way to get one was just walk into a store. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the best way to do things. I don't remember if I had the GameStop pre-order or the Walmart pre-order first when I did it for the PS5, but I had them both.
Yeah, it was like
I think funny enough, the one time in life that the thing I ordered online arrived before the stores open was the PS5. The GameStop PS5, I had to wait for the store to open that day, but the Walmart one had arrived like while I was walking to the GameStop. The PS5 from Walmart had arrived at the door, which is so funny.
That is so funny. But it's like to me, this just goes to show that what a horrible experience it's become. Like the more they kept pushing this online like pre-orders, and just like
could we have walked into Best Buy or Walmart? I don't think so. I don't think you could walk in and pre-order.
Exactly. That's the thing that I hate the most, is that they're trying to push this online pre-order so much and not give that in-store option like simultaneously. I understood it in the pandemic. It was the pandemic, and I remember I was ranting to Paul about it like when this show restarted in 2021, because
it was one, by the way.
He got it because he had a hookup. He had a friend that worked at GameStop that told him, hey, apparently we're gonna open the pre-order. He literally booked it into that store back in New Orleans, and he was one of the first ones to pre-order it like before they officially opened. Like that was because a friend helped him. I was like, oh, this is gonna get messy, and that's how it was. And he didn't get lucky today. Like he tried, and
well, that's what I was asking. So he didn't get the Switch 2 is what I was asking.
Yeah. For this one, no. For PS5 back in the day, PS5, he got it like through a hookup. But that's just, to me, that's just miserable. Like I hate seeing Rick's like poor Rick has been like the last 10 hours looking at different. I was like, that sucks. And
Rick, I'll keep an eye out for it as the Twitter things, and if I can grab another one, I will grab another one. And you're in the US, it's easy enough to ship it to you. It's a Switch, it doesn't weigh that much. It's not like shipping a PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm losing care about it by the moment.
I'm just saying, like, I'm happy to keep an eye out for things and just grab it. I've got credit cards. I can afford to grab a second one and wait for reimbursement like Alex is gonna do. It's not a big deal if you need it.
No, yeah, but it's like to me, it's like it sucks that 5 years later, in non-pandemic time, the exact same bad experience happened again.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. I mean, there's no. I mean, upgrade your servers, prep your servers for it. Like that's all it comes down to is are your servers ready for it? They never do. Is what I hear. They never do. They love everyone fighting and walking out like this. I almost understand why, Alex, because this is like a once every few year kind of thing. So it's like, do you really want to spend the money to upgrade your servers for this crazy high capacity when you're only going to experience it every couple of years? I almost understand why they don't do it. But I would also think that just like modern server technology should be able to handle large influxes of people now. unless they're running on servers and whatnot from 2010, which maybe they are.
It wouldn't surprise me because from what the Game Informer people told, their backend was like such a mess under GameStop. It was like that was where website was so hard to like extract, like to what they have now that has mostly the things intact, but under like a new structure. But if you got a Switch 2, like whether it was while walking in, like my brother-in-law did, or Joe that got luck with Target, or
thank you, Target. I've always loved Target. Target is well managed, Target is a good company in my opinion. They are well run. They were surprisingly able to keep profits and keep running even during pandemics, during the pandemic, because they are smartly run. They're popping themselves over the last like 5 to 7 years. They've been putting themselves in cities. They've been like readjusting their store design to like fit into city buildings and whatnot. They were the Target, literally. I described the walk to GameStop. You would pass a Target on the walk to GameStop because they were like Target was on this side and then the GameStop was on this side and then down around the corner a little bit. Like Target is fitting itself into like New York City. It's a well-run, well-designed company, well worth supporting. I was glad it went through Target.
Yeah.
And they have good shipping. Like I ordered my friend Brooks, the one that sent the PS5, so I ordered him an Instant Pot for his birthday this year. Got there no problems,
Yeah.
So, I think that's all we have to say on that one.
Yes, and and with that we have finished the headlines. And Joe, read the headlines the quickest you can.
Read the headlines. Okay.
Yeah, for the
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Sorry, the games that are coming on the week.
I know.
27.
I know. All right, the game releases for April 27th through May 3rd of 2025 are Forza Horizon 5 comes to PlayStation 5 finally on April 29th. Fragpunk comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S on April 29th. Moroi comes to PC on April 30th. MotoGP 25 comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on April 30th. Skin Deep comes to PC on April 30th. Despalote comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 1st. Free Ride comes to PC on May 1st. And Shotgun Cop Man comes to Switch and PC on May 1st. That is all for the things. I wanted to say I am surprised that Oblivion is not a PS4, Xbox One game. That is just the current gen game, which
I don't mind. Cool. I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. I think it's really cool. I think that's good. I think they planned that out really well.
Yeah, UE5 doesn't work on PS.
Yeah, those consoles couldn't run UE5.
Yeah, and with that brings us to the end to this week's episode of the X Button. Rick, exit us out. Where can people find you, good sir?
Twitch4969 everywhere. Spreading the Nerd Fridays usually at 7:30 p.m.
Joe?
You can find me at Joseph_Law_Rusa on Twitter/X. You can find my writing at Season Gaming. Nothing immediately in the works. A couple of things I'm hoping to take care of, to take on when they come out sooner rather than later. And that's pretty much it. Just going to keep playing games. I also just want to say that FBC Firebreak comes out June 17th. That was announced. And
randomly today. Yeah, randomly today. Yeah.
So I want to throw that out there for our news fans here, because people come to us for the information. I want to say that, and that's all for me.
Yeah, and _Segovia Twitter, Segovia on Blue Sky, and my written content at seasongaming.com. And with that, that brings us to the end. If you like what you listened or watched, you can give us a like and subscribe and leave a review on your podcast service of your choice. And we'll be here next week with Paul with his rotating episode, maybe Rick, depending on the time. And Joe, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah, depending on how that goes. And enjoy the rest of this weekend. The month is almost over. Wild. We're still close to May. And
press X
to play. Hasta la vista, baby.